The United States needs Greenland.
No, you sound insane.
Greenland is strategically placed between the Americas and Europe and Asia, and as the predominant force within NATO, it is crucial this land is ours for the security of the world.
Dude, Greenland is an autonomous territory of Denmark, a long-standing NATO ally, meaning Greenland is also a part of NATO, and the Denmark president said invading a NATO ally would destroy the alliance and post-World War II security.
The real security threat is the fact China and Russia have been increasing their presence in the Arctic, which, as the climate warms, becomes more and more of a strategic area for shipping and military routes.
Denmark has long allowed U.S. bases in Greenland. There used to be over 30 during World War II and the Cold War era, but the U.S. decided to shrink that to only one today. Again, being a NATO ally already, Greenland has Article 5 protections, meaning if China or Russia try something, all of NATO must defend them.
Well, NATO is nothing without America, and let's just be frank, the world is witnessing an existential AI race between China and the U.S. that will decide who will lead the future of planet Earth, the free world or the communist authoritarian world. And one advantage China has is it dominates with rare earth minerals, and Greenland is loaded with rare earths, especially as more ice melts.
Finally, we got to the root of the issue, just like Venezuela. You say it's about the drugs, but it's actually oil. Here, you say it's national security, but it's actually rare earth minerals.
Well, it's a big part, as access to rare earths may very well decide the future of civilization, especially if we enter a war with China and they shut off our access.
Well, the U.S. has rare earths. China has just been more efficient at mining and refining them. Plus, they care a lot less about environmental issues. But if it really came to it, we don't need Greenland. We just need to start mining again.
Look, the U.S. has a long history of expanding its territory, all of which have worked out pretty well for us. We doubled our size with the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, bought Alaska from Russia in 1867, and Trump appointed Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry as envoy to Greenland to make a similar type accusation here. We're not going to invade Greenland. There's nothing to invade. They have 50,000 people.
Heck, except only 6% of the Greenlandic people have said they want to become a part of the U.S. Their leaders and Denmark's leaders have maintained they're not for sale, and a 2009 agreement says it's in the hands of the Greenlandic people to decide their future independence.
Yeah, but just wait until we make our official offer to them. Grandpa will always say his 1965 Ford Mustang is never for sale until a cash buyer puts the cash in front of their face. And who wouldn't want to be a part of the greatest nation in the history of the world?
Well, currently 85% of the Greenlandic people.
Things change, people change.
Now it's probably 99%.
And all right, guys, we are live. Yo, this is S.E.T Media, guys, and I'm back with another one for you. All right, guys, sorry for the late start. Kind of fell asleep there, but we're back at it. And all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into Trump, well, giving a speech, get into some Venezuelan updates, some Ukraine updates, and a whole lot more, guys. So let's not forget to double tap that screen, like the video, and let's get right into it.
Understand? But we hit one last night, a new record, brand new record. All exchanges, not just, Dow was up, but all of them. We have another record, 40, that's the 47th time in 11 months that we've hit an all-time high. And the future, because we have more money coming into our country than any country has ever had by far. The record was about $3 trillion many years ago by China. We've got $18 trillion pouring into our country. You know why? Because of tariffs. Because if they build a factory, they don't have to pay any tariff. But if they make it in another country and they send it in, they have a very big tariff to pay. So they can't pay that tariff. So what they do is they come in and they're building. By the way, this is what China did to us for many years. It's just reversing it. Other than we have a great product. We were losing our product now. Tell you what.
So I'll tell you this right now, though. We hurting China with not just tariffs, but of course with seizing Venezuelan oil as well, because China also benefited from getting Venezuelan oil. Now that we've taken that over, China's kind of, well, as we say, ass out or SOL. So we'll see what happens and we'll see how that progresses. I've heard that Chinese tankers are still on the way to Venezuela. So it doesn't seem like that's really hindering them too much, but they were showing their concern when they said, oh, well, the United States is breaking international law, when really we're getting in the way of your oil supply.
If I had lost this election, if you had Kamala, it's the same thing, Joe and Kamala, I call them equals. If you had Kamala come in, I believe that our country would have been Venezuela on steroids. I used to say that during the campaign. If I don't win, we're going to have Venezuela. So we have 18 trillion coming in. I think we could hit 20 trillion by the time the year is up, right? It's less than 1 year, 18 trillion. The record is $3 trillion. $3 trillion is a lot of money. 18 trillion is not even thinkable. That's all investment. That's building factories. That's building plants. You know how many car factories we have? Half of you guys are having car factories. Where you are, Louisiana is doing great. Georgia, right next to you, is doing great. Hello, nice guy. All nice people. Actually, in this room, I can't see it. Is there anybody I'm supposed to dislike in this room?
I mean, yeah, there's big manufacturing coming to Texas, Georgia, North Carolina, Ohio, and all of these projects are starting up now. Oh, well, pharmaceutical, AstraZeneca in Maryland.
I think that a couple of people maybe didn't show up. There's only one that I really dislike. I mean, the same person that Mike gave up on, because there's something wrong with him. He's a sick person. But there's only one really. The others, you just have to understand them. They have some problems too, but you just have to sort of go with them and understand them, feel sorry for them, advise their family, are they okay? Because what we're doing is right. But $18 trillion, car plants being built. I was in Japan. Somebody admonished me, he shouldn't be traveling. I don't like to travel. But when I travel, I make a lot of money for the country, not for me. For me, I don't care. I have a much higher purpose. I have plenty of money. I don't need money. I don't want money. I want.
And he's talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene was the person that tell him that he needs to park Air Force One and focus on domestic policy instead of going around the world focusing on geopolitical problems and all that good stuff. Like, start focusing what's going on inside the border instead of what's outside the borders. And has Trump followed that? Not really.
To make money for the country.
But he is
And
making
like I
money
did
out
with
there, though.
Intel. Intel came in, they had a problem. I said, I can solve the problem, but I think you should give the United States 10% of your company. He goes, whoa. I said, yeah, I think I can help you with the problem, but you got to give the United States, not me. Sometimes I'll say, give me. But when I say me, I'm talking about, I'd love to accept it, but I don't think that law enforcement would like that, right? I'm very cognizant of law enforcement, perhaps more than anybody in history. Actually, a friend of mine who's really smart said, you've got to be the most honest guy in history because you have been examined, your books, your records. I have a big business. Every record, I had these Democrats hired the biggest accounting firms, the biggest law firms, the biggest. I went through years of abuse. And here I am. They didn't find anything wrong. Remember? We want his tax returns for years. We want his. Finally, the Supreme Court, shockingly, I'm the only one. This couldn't happen to anybody else. You have to give your tax returns, right? I gave my tax returns. They're from here to here. It's a big business. It's a great business. And I built a great business.
I mean, yeah, let's be honest. Since Trump's first term and even after, they were going after this man viciously. And then, of course, when it came to the election time, when they hit him with the 34 counts, 34 felonies, and now all of these guys are getting dropped. They're going to appeals, and he's beating them. I mean, especially when it comes to the election fraud charge, defrauding the bank. He beat both of those. So it goes to show that, yeah, they were throwing everything they can at him. And this is why it is hard to believe that, Trump has any type of, I guess he did, or I'll say that there's any type of proof that Trump did anything wrong in the Epstein files. Why? Because if the Democrats had it, that'd have been the first thing they threw at him. Instead, they threw a bunch of maybes at him. This may stick. We may be able to get away with this, when they could have threw a guarantee at him with the Epstein files if there was anything in there damning enough to, get Trump in trouble.
Much bigger and better than anyone even understands. But I gave my tax returns. They go from here to the ceiling practically. They got him. Headline, Trump to give tax returns. Supreme Court ruled I had to give my tax return. Can you believe it? Everyone said, it's not supposed to do that. And by fighting, they think you're trying to hide something, naturally. I gave my tax returns. That's the last we ever heard. They hired the biggest accounting firm in the world, most powerful lawyers in the world. They spent millions and millions of dollars going over those returns. There hasn't been one story that I did anything wrong. So this friend of mine who's highly sophisticated, rich guy, smart guy, said there's nobody that I know that could have gone through an examination like that and not ended up in prison. Nobody ever had to suffer like I did. Nobody ever did that to anybody else. You know, there was an expression, Andrew Jackson was the most abused president in the history of the United States. You know who second was? This is before me. You know who second was? Abraham Lincoln. But he had a civil war, so we have to give him a pass. But Andrew Jackson was treated horribly. He was a great general and a good president. So bad that his wife died. I mean, his wife died. They were horrible. But I just saw a report came out the other day. I blow them away. He never got impeached twice. I got impeached twice or nothing on a perfect phone call, remember? Perfect phone call. Tim Scott, who's a great guy, great, wonderful guy, South Carolina, straight guy, right? He is a good guy, good person. He's an honest person. He read a transcript. Thank goodness I had a transcript. Essentially, the call was taped because they tape calls. I didn't even know. So was that call taped? Yes, sir. I said, oh, well, bring it down. I don't even know. And we read the transcript. It was perfect. It was so good. I told Ukraine not to cheat. And if you see any cheating, report it to the Attorney General of the United States. That was my call. They said he was trying to intimidate. I said, just don't cheat.
Yeah, it's part of the whole Russia collusion. He was trying to help Putin collude or I guess intimidate Ukraine. No, he was just trying to tell Ukraine to hold fair elections and or make sure your elections are fair. And if you feel like there's any Russian interference, go ahead and hit me up. But, you know, they took that for Trump working with Putin. Therefore, he's a Russia spy, Russia agent, and all this wild stuff. Even go as far as to saying that he sneaks off to Moscow to get peed on by prostitutes. I mean, they took it that far, which is pretty funny, and be honest with you.
And we have a signed agreement that Ukraine can't cheat. You know that. It's the only country we have actually signed. They violated the agreement many times, I would tell you. You'll find out. I was right about that too. But nobody's gotten cheated. But this guy said to me, for you to have escaped. But the one thing, and I'll just end it, because Jim Jordan back there, world champion wrestler, 128-1. Whatever happened to the one guy? The Russian. He lost to, how dare you lose to a Russian? Do you know the more impressive record for Jim? Because I'm a big sports person. I love sports. Jim went to high school. As in high school, he was considered like the top wrestler, but he was undefeated in high school. Now, what that means is that as a freshman, he was beating seniors. Is that true? Were you actually undefeated? Seriously, were you undefeated in high school? That means as a freshman, he had to beat seniors, Steve. Nobody could, because there's such a difference between a freshman and a senior.
Yeah.
To me, that's more impressive than
I mean, especially when it comes to wrestling. It don't even matter if you're the same weight class as that senior. He has more experience than you 9 times out of 10, unless you did all the wrestling camps and elementary and middle school and your parents really invested in your wrestling career. Yeah, 9 times out of 10, unless they did that, you ain't beating no senior in wrestling. But, you know, that's just me talking as a wrestler myself. Wrestled 160.
I looked at him and I said, tough looking guy. But I noticed the ears, they were a little rough. They were a little bit of a rough. Some people would say a little cauliflower on that ear. They said, Jim, have you wrestled before? Yes, I did. Where? Was it Ohio State? Something like he was an All-American at Ohio State. I said, yeah, I could.
And I'm from Ohio as well. And like, yeah, wrestling, football, wrestling, one of our, honestly, our main sports that we're pretty good at.
I could sort of tell. I look at the ears and I can sort of tell.
You're better than I will.
But have you had plastic surgery on your ears, Jim, now? Because they look better now than they did the first time. They've healed over the years. They've healed. Actually, now you're wrestling with probably much tougher people, the radical left lunatics, right? But anyway, so I just want to leave it by this. I want to say that you are great people. We have all of the policy. We have wonderful. Just stay together. We got a few people that make life very difficult. They don't have.
Oh, guys, let's go ahead and get the likes up to 50 by double tapping that screen and liking the video. Appreciate the support, by the way. But let's go ahead and double tap that screen. Appreciate the support, guys.
have that. I used to say they don't have a Mitt Romney in their midst. I mean, Mitt Romney was very difficult. You know, he was almost like for them. It was a very on the Senate side.
Well,
But we have a couple of people that are really bad. I mean, they're bad, but maybe they'll straighten out. Maybe somebody in the room can sit them down and straighten them out, because what we're doing is the right thing for the country. We're not Republican or Democrat. We're doing the right thing for the country. If you look at what we're trying to solve the healthcare problem. We're trying to get better healthcare at a lower price. I mean, that's a good thing, right? And the one thing I learned, and just in concluding, and I said it like a month and a half ago, and it was the number one thing in the country. Even the fake news covered it. They tried to put a negative spin on it, of course. I said, I read a story about insurance companies making a fortune. A fortune. Their stocks were up 1,700%. Who invested recently in a stock that's up 17? And that's because the money that they're getting from Obamacare is massive. And the government generally. That means they're making a fortune. And as soon as that, because I have a natural, I don't want to say it again, but I have a natural business.
I mean, here's the thing. Since the start of Obamacare, yeah, health insurance has only gotten more expensive. Of course, the premiums have went up while the insurance companies are doing way better than ever before. Their stocks have went up 100%. I'm sorry, but 1,000% in price. So yeah, who did this really help? Because all we really did was give billions to these insurance companies as they raised the price on Americans, thus making health insurance more unaffordable. So yeah, I mean, sure, it did a good job with giving out health care, but affordable health care, not so sure about that.
Instinct. I do. I've always done things. I've done some things that people said you're crazy, and I made a lot of money with. I've done a lot of things that were good. I have an instinct, right? Somebody said, he's got the best political instincts of any politician in 150 years. I said, no, I don't. I really don't believe I do. I think I have good instincts. I have common sense. But they said that it was a very complimentary statement, but I don't believe that's necessarily right. But I do have good policy. I have good common sense. And maybe they wheeled that into instincts. And I did become president. So can't be that bad. And I never did it before. Don't forget, I ran for president. I had a politician telling me very strongly, they said, sir, I've run for office 20 times and I've won 17. And I know what I'm talking about. This was at the very beginning of my first time. I said, well, I've only run once and I won, but I won for president. He said, you got me on that one. He's actually sitting in this room right now, that son of a gun. He knows who I'm talking about. He was giving me a hard time, but he's turned out to be a decent person. Not the best in the room, but a decent person. He's not my favorite in the room, but he's decent. But we have one thing that's really strong. Uh-oh, it's a fake news. Pulitzer Prize, right, Doug? Pulitzer Prize. He got one for the bullet. He had the bullet, but he got how many Pulitzer Prizes? 3 Pulitzer Prizes, and all talented guys. These are great guys. I don't like the people back there as well. These are the ones that take the pictures. Make me look thin for a change, Doug. You're making me look a little bit heavy. I'm not happy about it. But one thing I did see and find out in the last 2 months, when you tell the people that we want the money to be paid to the people so the people can buy their own health insurance and health care, it's like, and I just said it, and I said it because I read a story on the front page of a certain paper that I don't even mention because it's so stupid paper, it's so bad, it's gone so far off the Wall Street Journal, I don't mention.
Now, as you know, the ACA subsidies, the enhanced ACA subsidies put in under Biden were not continued. So honestly, this is looking like we're going to be heading towards a government shutdown come the end of the month. But yeah, those weren't extended, and the Republicans are pushing their health savings account idea, and they believe that's a better idea than extending the ACA subsidies, which even if extended, healthcare premiums were going to rise about 18 to 30%. So, I mean, trust me, you were still going to see a rise in your premium, but without it, I'm going to be honest with you, it is going to triple and double, and we'll see who it triples and double for. So let's wait and see if the government shuts down over it and they get it extended, or they just mosey on past and just we'll just see what happens.
I refuse to tell you I refuse to tell you that it's the Wall Street Journal. They've lost their way. This is not the Wall Street Journal of old. But I read a story on the Wall Street Journal, and it said that the insurance companies are making so much money. They weren't demeaning them or anything. And I guess as an investor, you're happy. When I read that, I said, wait a minute, they're making that kind of money. And they're making it because of stupid politicians, I hate to say, that we allow them to make it. If you guys can get in a room, because, we don't have that as one of our issues. It's the only thing they have. They're lousy at it. They came up with Obamacare. We tried to fight it. We almost had it won, but we didn't get 3 votes. We should have gotten them. But here's, you want to turn this thing, you work on favored nations, you work on borders, you work on all of the things that we talked about. But now you take the healthcare issue away from them, and they want to fight it. You know why? They're all owned by the insurance companies, and they cannot fight it successfully. There's nothing they can do. That's like...
Yeah, and that's the problem with the ACA subsidies. It goes straight to the insurance companies who still raise their healthcare premiums, and these insurance companies make billions while, well, basically it's on the backs of the taxpayer, aka the American people, and who gets higher healthcare premium costs? The American people. So he does have a point when he's pretty much saying that, it does kind of seem like the Democratic Party is working for Big Pharma. I'm sorry, but the insurance companies at this point. Well, and Big Pharma as well.
Almost the voter ID thing.
I mean, Elizabeth Warren is probably the best example.
When they try and fight, I watched a guy trying to explain why we shouldn't have voter ID the other day, and the guy was a fool. He looked like an idiot. This is the same kind of an issue. Let the money go in the healthcare account or however you do it. Let the money go directly to the people. Now, you have to be a little flexible on Hyde. You know that. You got to be a little flexible. You got to work something. You got to use ingenuity. You got to work. We're all big fans of everything, but you got to be flexible. You have to have flexibility. I came out with a statement. Let the money go not to the big fat cats and the insurance companies that made 1,700% over the last short period of time. Let the money go directly to the people where they can buy their own health care. And I'm not sure that I've ever said anything that was more impactful. I say a lot of things and have a lot of good ideas. And this was an idea that, the whole world went crazy. The whole country went crazy. The world went crazy with envy. If you can somehow do that, Mr. Speaker, Tom, all of you, Steve.
Now, I'm be real with you. In all honesty, the health savings account, well, we're not really sure how that's going to play out because this is honestly new. The ACA subsidies is the status quo, and the status quo is basically giving billions of dollars to these billion-dollar insurance companies, and they still raise their premiums on you. Like, that was the status quo, and obviously that's not working out for the American people. So let's see where this healthcare savings account go and Trump's new additions to it, because we've always had it.
If you can do that, you're going to have, this is going to be your issue. And the other thing is fertilization. They're trying to hit us on fertilization. They were dead on fertilization when I got a call from a very wonderful young senator from Alabama saying they had just lost a case. And the case, I've never been met with such scorn. Friends of hers were just going crazy. And I said, explain the issue to me. And it was on IVF, the fertilization. A judge ruled against and said all fertilization places have to be closed down like immediately. It would have been a disaster.
And here's the thing. He's actually making a good point. Instead of just giving these guys the money that, the ACA subsidies, it would be better maybe we give it out to the people and they actually have to compete. So think about it. They're just getting the money up front and they don't really got to compete for it. But if we're giving the money to the people, then they have to compete for that money now, and they most likely will be dropping their prices because the higher the competition is, the lower prices are. That's just usually how it works. Well, if you actually know anything about economics. I mean, look, man, the main problem about the Obamacare subsidies is one, the enhancement of it, and two, the fact that it's not really helping with affordability.
And fortunately, I picked it up, and we owned the issue. But now,
oh, and shout out to my man Chad. Appreciate the support. He sent a high five for 100 joules. Appreciate that, my brother.
I understand they're trying to make a case on fertilization. You can't let them do that. Very important issue. All of these issues are very important issues. But you can own healthcare. Figure it out. Let the money go directly to the people. It goes in a healthcare account. There are numerous things you can do, but you have to let no money for the insurance companies. I'm going to meet with the insurance companies. I said, I'm going to meet with them because I met with the prescription drug companies. And that's when I found out what was going on with the fact that we were paying 10 and 13 and 14 times more money than Europe and other places. I learned that at the meeting. Now I'm going to meet with them in a few days. I'm meeting with them all, 14 companies. I'm meeting with them all. I'm also meeting with oil companies. Let's go. You know what that's about. We've got a lot of oil to drill, which is going to bring down oil prices even further. But if you can come up with health care, remember this, where the money goes to the people, you have just owned, they can't fight it. They're owned by the insurance companies. You guys don't get money from the insurance companies. They do.
Sure don't.
They get a massive amount of money. It's their biggest donor. They're going to try and fight you, but they can't win the fight. If you explain it, the money goes directly to the people. That's going to be your issue. The other thing is energy. Your energy prices have come so far down since I'm president, and nobody wants to. I saw on television, energy prices are down 3%. No, they're not down 3%. They were $3.50 and $4. It's now $1.99 a gallon in many stations, and it's going.
Well, personally, over here in my area, it's ranging from that about what, 260 to 279, and right around me is 279, which is down from last month, which was at $3, and then what was it? The national average was at 306. Now the national average is about 280. So yeah, he actually did pretty good when it came to gas. He brought down inflation. We have positive job growth, regardless of the negative job growth or the negative months that we had in job growth. We still came out at the end of the year net positive in job growth. So he's doing pretty well so far.
Going down further.
I'm not going to give it an A++, but hey, a B+ is nice.
And that's like a massive tax cut. And that's the other thing, tax cuts. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. Now think of this, no tax on tips, no tax for seniors on Social Security, no tax on overtime. You're allowed to deduct if you buy a car and you take out a loan on the car. For the first time ever, middle-income people, all people can deduct, but they never got a deduction before like this. It's only for rich people. They got them. They have so many deductions. You're allowed to deduct the interest against your taxes. Nobody thought it was possible. It's going to be phenomenal for the car companies, but it's even more phenomenal for the people. It's like getting it's like paying half for the car. All of these things, you have so much ammunition. All you have to do is sell it. Taxes. But the one thing they know about the taxes, I call it the great big beautiful bill. I think it's even better. But the great big beautiful bill is just that. There are so many goodies in the bill, you have to get the word out because the people in the back of the room won't do it. That's why I love live television because they can't, sometimes they'll turn the camera off. But they're embarrassed when they do that. If we're going too strong and doing too well, if the lights go off, you're doing well. If the lights are on, you got yourself a problem, okay? I see that little red light. That light goes on. If that light, that's bad, isn't it? If that light goes off, you know that you're doing a good job because you're fighting the Democrats and you're fighting the fake news. And it's amazing that they can be so stupid. and they don't have credibility anymore, and you can beat them. I mean, it's the old thing that, never fight the news, but you have no choice because it's almost like they become radicalized. But you are fighting the news, but you can beat them. That's why I'm saying.
I mean, here's a problem with CNN, MSNBC, and the rest of them is that they're too against Trump. Like anything that Trump does, they try to vilify it. When it came to the tariffs, and it was talking about, prices are going to skyrocket. We're going to head into a recession. It's going to ruin our relationships with other countries. Well, that didn't happen. Actually, we actually got the better trade deals out of those countries. We actually cut the trade deficit. We're now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like I said, positive job growth. We've had positive GDP growth. So you guys were completely wrong on tariffs. I mean, even New York Times went and admitted that. And then what? Immigration. He goes kicking out all the illegals. Then you guys want to cry about, we thought it was only the criminals. No, obviously he wasn't hearing us. All of them, each and every one that's legal, get them up out of here. But apparently you guys weren't listening.
Here. I mean, I had.
And then of course the Venezuela strike, but we'll get more into that later.
Kamala. I was beating Joe by 30 points. And then they changed him. That's like a fighter in the ring. He's losing. And so let's put somebody else in to take his place. Very unfair. They changed in the middle of the election. They said, he's going to lose, so let's give somebody else. And fortunately, she was just as bad as him. Probably slightly. I don't know. Would you say as bad or worse? Close. Pretty close. But it took 6 weeks.
I'm sorry, but bro, are you well? I'm just saying, like, how dumb do you have to be to make a comment like that? If you're an American citizen, you don't have to worry about ICE. Now, I'm not sure if you're an American citizen, but I sure am. Born in Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you very much. I'm solidified here. I'm not sure about you, though, since the way you're talking. But you know how dumb you guys sound when you try to say, black people are next? I mean, sure, yeah, the illegal ones. Yeah, get all the Haitians up out of here. The Africans that came here illegal, too. Get them gone. I don't care. If they're here illegally, get them up out of here. You're acting like I'm playing favorites over here.
It was a honeymoon period, 6 weeks. Took 6 weeks to find out that she didn't have what it takes. But you got to win the midterms, because if we don't win the midterms, it's just going to be, they'll find a reason to impeach me. I'll get impeached. We don't impeach them. You know why? Because they're meaner than we are. We should have impeached Joe Biden for 100 different things. They are mean and smart. But fortunately for you, they have horrible policy. They can be smart.
Well, guys, if you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, questions, you can go ahead and super chat it in $2 and up. I have no problem with any of your questions. I swear, I'm an open book. The problem is that you guys, honestly, one, are misinformed. You don't even really know what's going on. We got one guy in the chat spamming paragraphs talking about everything he says is a lie. I'm like, you can actually look this up. You can Google everything I say, and it's going to give you exactly what I'm telling you. Positive GDP growth. We ended the year in what? A net positive in job growth. We're at 2.7 inflation. I mean, come on now. I'm not saying the man is perfect, but what I'm telling you is the truth. Just because you don't like to hear the good stats of Trump, and all you get is the bad stats. Hey, that's on you. I mean, bro, step up outside your bubble.
Artists can be. But when they want open borders, when they want, as I said, men and women sports, when they want transgender for everyone, bring your kids in. We're going to change the sex of your child. Just send them our way. In some cases, like in Minnesota, they don't even tell the parents. Is that right? And nobody believes it when I say it. I think we have 6 states. Nobody, am I correct? Okay, Tom Emmer said yes. So, but it's true. Where the kid comes back, they keep the kid. They operate on the kid. They don't tell the parents. It's not believable. We have great, solid common sense policy.
Now, he's going to harp on this trans issue as long as Dems try to make it seem like it's a non-issue in their party. Like, you got to realize that there are literally radicals in your party that are okay with transing kids. Not all of you. 90% of you don't believe in that bullshit. But you don't condemn those that do. I mean, there's literally people in your party that wanted to normalize MAP, which is what? A minor attracted person. But you dare talk about pedophilia and Donald Trump when there's radicals on your side that's literally talking about minor attracted people. Like, I mean, come on now. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the right side of media as we make our way over to the left. But let's start over here on Fox News with Jesse Waters. Let's see what they got to say.
Miller is angry.
You invaded the country.
was
We went into the country and we seized the leader of Venezuela.
Damn straight we did.
And I'm
Because
saying,
we're not going to let.
so is the
point,
U.S.
Jake,
going to have
the
new
point,
elections?
Jake, is that we're not going to let Tim Pot communist dictators send rapists into our country, send drugs into our country, send weapons into our country.
The left is uncomfortable exercising American power. It's as simple as that.
Let's be honest, though. Up front, let's be real. We didn't strike Venezuela because of oil. Like, well, I'm be honest with you, because of drugs. One of the main reasons we got involved with Venezuela is because they were heavily influenced by Russia, China, Iran. They were mainly working with them. And then, of course, working with cartels like a cherry on top. Then, of course, oil and natural resources. So honestly, out of all three of those, the oil was at the bottom of the list. The main thing is the foreign influence going on in our hemisphere.
They're ashamed we're a superpower. So when we throw our weight around, they feel bad about it, even though we're helping them. They're now arguing that Venezuela has the right to send us drugs, gangs, steal our oil, sell it to China. But if we do something about them, we're the bad guys. A communist-backed dictator who's been accused of crimes against humanity, we arrest them, and the Democrats say, we're breaking the law. Well, what's the point of being a superpower if we can't exercise any power in our own neighborhood? How about a little gratitude?
At some point they should say, you did a great job. Thank you. Congratulations. Wouldn't it be good? I would say that if they did a good job. Their philosophies are so different, but if they did a good job, I'd be happy for the country. They've been after this guy for years and years and years. And, he's a violent guy. He gets up there and he tries to imitate my dance a little bit. But he's a violent guy, and he's killed millions of people.
Trump's taken out al-Baghdadi, Soleimani, the Iranian nuke program, and now dictator Maduro. And every single time, look it up, the left's against it. They say Trump is putting us in danger. Every time. That's what they say. How? By taking out bad guys? Soon they're going to be calling Maduro a Venezuelan dad.
Here's the problem. The Dems, honestly, I'm not even sure if they really know how to feel about this, because under Biden, under Trump's first term, they was criticizing him for leaving Maduro alone. Under Biden, everybody was all for claiming that he stole the election. He's a dictator. Everybody on the left was talking about we can't let this man steal the election, but they basically let him do it. Trump came in, took this man into jail, took him out of power, and now the left is complaining and bitching about something that they were literally talking about under Biden and criticizing Trump for in his first term. Like, really?
Biden had a $25 million bounty on Maduro's head. How'd the Democrats think we were going to go nab him? Maduro's going to turn himself in? Okay, gringos, you got me. I give up. Democrats literally can't.
Oh, and shout out to my man Jay, says, damn, so much, psychotic TDS in the morning. I'm telling you, hey, man, but you got to love the TDS in the morning. These guys, hey, man, they're the best of them. They say the craziest stuff. They do no research. They just hate Trump. That's it. They just hate Trump. That's all they're running off of. No research, no nothing. Just I hate Trump, so Trump does everything wrong. That's it.
Campaigned in the last election exclusively on dictators are bad. That's all we heard, the D word. Defending democracy against dictatorship. So a real dictator lost the election, stayed in power, locked up his opponents. Trump puts that guy in handcuffs, and Democrats say he went about it the wrong way. They put Trump in handcuffs, claiming he tried to steal an election. Well, Maduro actually did it.
Literally, they was literally losing their shit over claiming that Donald Trump tried to steal an election. This man literally did it, and now we got people, Democrats outside talking about free Maduro, send him back to Venezuela. I'm like, okay, this is why nobody takes y'all serious, okay? Because I promise you, if it wasn't Trump and it was Biden, you guys would have celebrated this. This would have been one of Biden's many accomplishments.
And a lot worse. Jasmine Crockett thinks it's unfair that the United States has the power to arrest dictators. Well, she's saying, well, if the shoe was on the other foot.
Guess what? There are a lot of people that don't like our leader.
Whoa. I mean, the problem is, who's going to kidnap the president of the United States? Nobody. Nobody. Sadly, there's only 3 types of countries. There's first tier, second tier, and third tier. And sadly, there's only 3 first tier countries. The second tier countries get to choose the first tier countries they want to deal with, which is basically the US, Russia, and China. The third tier countries, well, they're just at the mercy of the first and the second tier. Like, they don't even get to control the fishing routes. They don't get to control the resources. They control nothing about their country, not even the leaders that get elected. So we've learned something about the world today and how harsh it is and how sometimes, I guess, might makes right, because Trump used might. And who's going to check him? What? The UN? We are the UN. We are the UN military force. NATO? We are NATO. What are we going to do? Check ourselves? Because it don't look like it. And I'm not saying I'm all in agreement with the Venezuelan strike, but who's going to check us?
And regardless, somebody coming into the United States and grabbing our leader in the middle of the night and killing people in this country, I'm sure everybody would be outraged at them doing it that way.
This explains the liberal mindset perfectly. Maduro has just as much of a right to arrest Trump as Trump has the right to arrest him. America should not put America first, should not use our power for good, and should take no responsibility for defending its interests. Even when other countries are attacking us with drugs and gangs and colluding with our enemies, we just have to sit back and take it. What do liberals want to use American power for? Sex changes in Guatemala? Check.
To push feminism on Islamic countries? I mean, what? To push women rights in the Middle East? Like, bro. Oh, okay, we want to use sanctions and military power for that, but we don't want to use that actually benefit America. Okay, that's crazy. And here's the thing. I'm not sure if this will fully benefit America. Of course, seizing their oil, that could help. That helps. But down the line, I can say this does lead to a very bad president, because people are right. And the libs have every right to say this when it says, all right, well, what keeps Putin from just going in and kidnapping Zelensky? What keeps Xi from going in and kidnapping the leader of Taiwan? And that's an absolutely good point, because yeah, who would stop them? Are we willing to go to World War III over Ukraine? Of course not. We just proved that we weren't for the past 2 years. Are we willing to go to World War III over Taiwan? Well, maybe for the chips, but I'm not even sure about that.
$20 million for Sesame Street in Iraq? Yeah. They don't want to defend our borders, only borders thousands of miles away. They don't even want to defend our money. They bring in migrants and let them steal it. Even when we blow the whistle, whoop, whoop, the Somalis are stealing our money. They still don't stop it. Gay marriage is illegal in Venezuela. Is that going to change Crockett's mind? Should we tell her that Juan can't marry Juan in Caracas? Biden left billions in military hardware in Afghanistan, got 13 soldiers killed, and then he smoked a family of civilians with a drone. And the Democrats were like, greatest airlift in history.
Bruh.
Trump sends in Delta Force, 0 casualties. Picks up this tyrant out of a military fortress.
Well, I'm be honest with you, 0 casualties on our side. We had 1 injury, a little bit of damage to the equipment. Now, when it comes to what happened on Maduro's side, yeah, he was guarded by Cubans, a bunch of Cubans, and about 32 of them, we killed them. So yeah, those 32 Cubans that were protecting Maduro in the extraction, they were eliminated. And then, of course, there was a, I believe, a grandmother who actually got caught by some shrapnel in the bombing, and she also died. And I mean, she was a Venezuelan. So yeah, let's see how this goes over with the Venezuelan people over time, because I seen it on CBS, and it doesn't look like they're feeling too good about America asserting their dominance on them.
In the dead of night, flies him back to New York, puts him on trial, and Democrats are mad. Why?
Oh, and shout out to my man Jay. He said it was basically bipartisan. Trump created the bounty, Biden, and yeah, Yeah, Trump created the bounty, Biden increased it, Trump increased it again, but Trump's wrong for having the balls to snatch him. I mean, yeah, that's where they're going with it, because anything Trump does is wrong in their mind. And it don't make no sense. They can't really explain it to you, but if Biden did this, then it'd have been all good. I mean, Obama strikes people out there for oil and sends basically Libya back to slavery. It's all good. But Trump swoops in and takes Maduro. Oh my God, international law has been broken. It's the end of the world. He's actually a dictator, even though he's damn near basically swooped up and, I guess, extracted a dictator for his crimes against the United States of, well, being a narco terrorist and transporting drugs, and of course other things as well.
Because they didn't get a heads up? Yeah, because they're telling soldiers to disobey orders. Why else? Because it's illegal? Bush did the same thing to Noriega, arrested him, put him on trial, and put him in prison. Didn't Democrats say all fall? Got to give him due process. Well, that's what we're doing. Why else? Because there's no democracy in Venezuela yet? Well, there's no democracy in Libya either, after Barry bombed it back into the Stone Age.
I mean, yeah, actually, Libya has basically slavery. That's why I said Obama basically bombed these guys back to slavery. He basically did that.
In Afghanistan, we were there for 20 years. They are mad that we're taking the oil. What do you think this economy runs on? Solar panels? You think we're going to win the AI race with China with windmills?
Unless we make
Did the Democrats even build any windmills in 4 years? Did the Democrats build anything? How about being proud to be in?
No, I mean, here's the thing, though. If they'd have started the manufacturing of windmills and solar panels, I'd respect it. But instead, oh no, let's heavily rely on China, who sneaks these little switchers in there to turn off our power supply. Like they were caught sneaking power switchers in our solar panels, Instead of just making it ourselves, let's just risk it all to the Chinese. It's really smart, guys, really smart.
American.
Nicolas Maduro got to meet some great Americans for a night vision goggles 3 nights ago. He didn't know they were coming until 3 minutes before they arrived. In fact, his wife said, I think I hear aircraft outside. They didn't know. You know why? Because every single part of that chain did their job. And they did it flawlessly.
You know who else didn't see it coming? China. All these Chinese spies crawling around D.C. They were totally shocked. Want to know why? Because we didn't brief Swalwell, and he didn't slip it to Fang Fang. You know what else they should be proud of? The Russian and Chinese air defense systems didn't work against our military. Trump really must be Putin's puppet if he's blowing up Putin's puppet in Venezuela. And this just in from the president. I am pleased to announce that the interim authorities in Venezuela will be turning over between 30 and 50.
Ooh, actually, no, sir, you're wrong. I mean, I did not say we had record job growth. I said we had positive job growth. Pay attention. That's what I'm saying. You have too much TDS to the point where you got to delude yourself into thinking that I said we had record job growth. No, I said we have positive job growth, aka at the end of the year, after the positive job growth months and the negative job growth months, we came at a positive job growth. I would hope you understand that. Like, do I need to explain it to you like you're in 3rd grade? I would hope not. So I didn't say record, I said positive. So please sit your ass down. I'm gonna have to go ahead and sit you down because you're talking too much. You don't know anything. But all right, though, let's keep it going. And I mean, of course, shout out to Trump because he definitely did take it. I mean, I think this clip explains it pretty well.
Stole that shit. That's what I do, nigga. Fuck, nigga, I stole that shit. And I stole it. Like, bro, but niggas don't understand. I talk facts. Vlad, I talk facts.
Oh, you're right.
I
don't even deny it. That's cool.
Nigga, I talk facts. What deny? What, nigga? Give me that, nigga.
Now he told facts. He ain't denied either. He said we took it. It's ours now. And guess what? We run in Venezuela. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a bit crazy. But here we are now. Even though the Maduro regime is still in place, I mean, yes, the new interim president of Venezuela is D.I.C. Rodriguez. That's her name, D.I.C. Rodriguez, and she's basically Maduro part 2. She still believes in all the socialist policies. She believes in, well, I'm gonna be real with you. What was it? What was the same thing they shared? Because not just his socialist policies. Oh, yes, the hatred of America and our imperialist ways. And she also is telling us to bring Maduro back because that is the one true president of Venezuela. And this is what the current president of Venezuela is saying. Word on the global streets is that all the cheers that you've been seeing of Venezuelans on the news, that's outside of Venezuela. That's happening in places like Ecuador, Chile, places in South America, Miami, places in America. The people in Venezuela are actually protesting against what we did in Venezuela. And this is what I'm hearing on the global streets when you actually listen to like Latin news and global news. They're not too happy about it. Not saying that everybody's disappointed, but there are people who absolutely hate what we did when we went in there and took Maduro, and they believe we went against their sovereignty and the right to choose for themselves.
Billion barrels of high-quality sanctioned oil to the United States of America. This oil will be sold at its market price, and that money will be controlled by me as President of the United States of America to ensure that it is used to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States. Did you know after the Iraq War, we barely won an oil contract? Barely. British Petroleum got fat contracts. The Russians got contracts. They didn't even fight there. But Americans spent a decade of blood and treasure, and we walked away with next to nothing. Not anymore.
I asked him, I said, Mr. President, when you say, quote, we're going to run everything, that obviously causes deep concerns because of the disaster in Iraq. The president's response, Joe, the difference between Iraq and this is that Bush didn't keep the oil. We're going to keep the oil.
Trump says take the oil. Democrats call that imperialistic. We call it common sense.
Man.
We won spoils after World War II. We told our allies, lose the colonies. We took half Japan's gold they stole, built military bases on everyone's turf, and pegged the world currencies to the dollar. Was that fair? We've neglected our own neighborhood for the last 25 years because we were stuck in the sand in Iraq and Afghanistan. And while we were there, China swooped into our backyard and turned out all of our neighbors.
For years, we sent our soldiers to die in deserts in the Middle East to try to build them parliaments, to try to build them democracies, to try to give them more oil, to try to give them more resources. The future of the free world, Jake, depends on America being able to assert ourselves and our interests without apology.
In 2007, Hugo Chavez stole oil rights from Exxon and ConocoPhillips and kicked them out of the country. Now, at the time, Bush was fighting to save Iraq. He didn't have the bandwidth to defend our interests in the hemisphere. That's just a fact. Now, the media is saying, oh, American oil companies, they don't want to go back to Venezuela. It's too expensive. It's going to take too much time. What kind of negative attitude is that? Oil executive phones are blowing up. Interest in Venezuela has gone from 0 to 99%, quote unquote. Chevron, Exxon, Halliburton, their stocks are on fire. The Dow's up 1,000 points since the raid. Gold's up. The Venezuelan bond market's going loco. Privateers are already aiming for a $2 billion raise. The oil companies, they're meeting tomorrow with the Secretary of Energy. Venezuelan reserves are already mapped. There's no exploration risk. That means quicker dinero, lower inflation, and more leverage for Estados Unidos.
And I mean, he does have a point. Now, you got to remember, our dollar hasn't been facing too good of, well, it hasn't been doing too well the past couple of years. Like, we all know this, right? Of course we do. But this is actually a solution towards it, because one of the reasons why our dollar is being threatened or has been seeing a slight reduction in value is because of BRICS and people trying to turn away from the dollar and usually try to buy oil either in their own currency or the Chinese yuan. And well, that's what Maduro was actually doing. He stopped buying. Well, actually, a lot of countries start doing that. And you know what happens to them? We overthrow them. I mean, look up a lot of our regime changes, and it all usually depends on our dominance with the petrodollar. And this is no different. Yeah, it's all about the petrodollar. They were trying to sell their oil in the Chinese yuan instead of the American dollar, which was further going to weaken our dollar. And this is in our own hemisphere. And we just couldn't allow that. Because if the American petrodollar falls, basically all of American economics fall with it. And we could just not have that. So I know you're going to hate to hear this, but as an American, you should want the petrodollar to stand at all costs. If you hate America, then of course you want it to fail because you want to see America destroyed. But if you're a true American, then you should want to, honestly, you should be ready for any measure to be taken to keep our economic dominance, or that goes your livelihood and your family's livelihood with it. I hope you understand that. It is deeper than Donald Trump. I hope you understand this.
This puts Trump in a stronger bargaining position with Putin over Ukraine and gives America more leeway to conduct military operations without worrying about rattling the oil markets. We squeeze China. We even reduce our reliance on Canadian oil, and that gives us more leverage in trade talks. And the best part is, liberals, listen closely, boosting Venezuelan oil output improves the Venezuelan economy. I know you care so much about other people. It helps the people live better lives there so they don't have to migrate here and raise your rent. Democrats are whining that we swapped one dictator for the dictator's VP, but guess what? She's already cooperating.
Is she?
And has been for over a year. The Financial Times reports this. The vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, has been conducting secret talks with Washington for a while.
I hope the opposition don't see this in Venezuela or she about to get executed. But no, that makes sense. I remember me and Monty was calling and saying that, you know what, it seems a bit weird that they knew exactly what Maduro was at the right price, at the right place, at the right time. And who else would know that but somebody really close to him? And I mean, the VP is something that I'm pretty sure that's somebody that would know the president's location at all times. And then, of course, we're hearing all these talks about her, about all these talks she's having, closed door talks with Trump. And then here's also the wild part as well. She's coming out being pro Maduro, talking about bring him back and all this good stuff. And that's what she's doing on public television, right? You know, meeting with the ambassador of China, Russia, and Iran all at once. She's doing all this in her face in public while she's having secret talks with Washington in the background, trying to, I don't know how she's going to sell it to her people after she did all the showboating, but finding a way to sell America, taking over their oil, their resources to the people. I wonder how she's going to transport that over, or is what Fox News saying is bullshit, because it's only one, bro. We're getting two different stories here. Let's be honest. We're getting one lady that's going like, bring this man back. We're continuing the old regime, like F American interference. And then we got Fox News over here going like, well, everybody in Venezuela is happy. Everything is happily ever after. Oh, and she's working with us behind closed doors. Then what the heck is she doing in public talking against us? So, like I said, we'll see how things progress.
For a post-Maduro Venezuela. Translation, she went behind her boss's back and backstabbed him. She's now in charge. You don't think this woman's going to play ball a little bit? Now, if she doesn't play ball...
I mean, she do got to play to the opposition. You know, she do want to keep her head.
The naval blockade will choke off her cash flow, and she won't be able to keep her lights on and pay off her cronies. Just ask the Japanese or the Cubans how crippling an American naval blockade is. El Vice Presidente doesn't want to find out the hard way. She might not give us elections right away. She might not break up with the cartels because the cartel kickbacks are what keeps the generals fat and happy, but she will hand us back our oil and the gold and the minerals for sure, because that's what we're going to need for AI. Now, between Canada, the United States, Mexico, and Latin America, that puts Trump in control of a North and South American oil empire.
Oh, shout out to Kim Armour for joining the membership. Appreciate the support, sis. Oh, make sure to email me. You can just go to my main page, hit the info link, hit the info. You'll be able to find my email. Just email me and I'll go ahead and send you that Discord link. Appreciate you joining, sis.
Which would control 40% of world oil production. Kind of makes us the new OPEC. We'd be in the strongest position we've been in a long time. But there's one more thing.
And I mean, let's be real. We can guarantee that our hemisphere never dropped the American dollar. then it's all good. I mean, I'm talking about literally complete dominance over the Western Hemisphere. Everything in the Western Hemisphere, every country in the Western Hemisphere using the American dollar to buy their oil, we be in pretty good standing. Yeah, we actually afford a couple of these guys to go ahead and go their own direction with how they want to purchase their oil. But until then, nah, not really. And it is looking like, well, to have complete American dominance, we wouldn't need them to turn over their currency from what it is now to American dollars.
We need.
We'll see how that
Greenland
goes.
has a population of 30,000 people, Jake. The real question is, by what right does Denmark assert control over Greenland? What is the basis of their territorial claim? What is their basis of having Greenland as a colony of Denmark? The United States is the power of NATO. For the United States to secure the Arctic region, to protect and defend NATO and NATO interests, obviously Greenland should be part of the United States.
Not only are Russian and Chinese ships sailing all across the Arctic looking for riches and new routes, the flight paths of Russian missiles, they go directly across Greenland into the United States.
Now, Greenland, I'm gonna be real with you. There's reasons why we want Greenland more than just, of course, land or, well, it ain't because it's a beautiful place. I'll tell you that. It ain't because it's a beautiful place, but it is because of their rare earth minerals, natural resources, of course. I mean, and it also is because you need access to the Arctic region. And who mostly has dominance over the Arctic region? Well, in first place is our guys in Russia. Second place, our guys in China. And then third place, well, there's us. And we need to actually elevate our position in the Arctic because if things pop off and, nuclear missiles and missiles start flying, they're flying over Greenland first, and we need to be able to stop that. And we don't have too much military of a presence in Greenland to feel comfortable enough, for that.
Can't have that. The Arctic is the new frontier. It's the new battle space, economically and militarily. And this tiny, tiny, tiny Scandinavian country.
Yep, because those intercontinental ballistic missiles fly straight through the poles.
A NATO member, for sure, has an uninhabited colony, bigger than Alaska, sitting off the coast of Maine. Now, if we're going to defend NATO from the Russians and the Chinese, Denmark's not going to be able to do it because they just can't. And they're getting a little prickly about the situation.
To taunt the Danish special forces who protects Greenland is very easy, but I would like to see how many American soldiers who can cope with these Arctic temperatures and this very harsh environment. I don't think it's something that you get many soldiers to do from the American continent.
Yeah, I hate to break it to the Danes. We have long johns here too. Patagonia will happily provide parkas for the Navy. We have soldiers from the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. Gets a little cold up there in the winter. They're used to the wind chill too. If we needed Bermuda to defend the Caribbean from the enemy, I think the British would let us borrow the island. It's called sharing. Funny thing is, the Europeans are lecturing us about colonies. What's yours is yours. Really?
My response is that Denmark landed on Greenland before anyone ever thought about making the United States of America. So by that logic,
I mean, bro, it don't matter. It don't matter. Like, can y'all defend Greenland? If we wanted to take it from you, could you defend Greenland from us? Okay, you can't. So I'm gonna be quite honest with you. Since it's in our hemisphere and we kind of need it for military advantage or strategic advantage, then yeah, we can take it. And what are you going to do about it? And this is the problem with this whole hemispherical dominance plan. Who going to stop us? Because NATO can't stop us. The UN won't stop us. I mean, who going to stop us on the Western side? The only people that can stop us is China and Russia. And that's if they probably like tag team together. And how likely is that to tag team against the USA? Not too likely. But that is the concerning question. If we do all of this, who's going to stop us, and what president does this set? Does that mean all the superpowers can now just take over willy-nilly and we're just splitting the world amongst the three of us? I mean, what does that look like? And is it a good place to live in? Let's be honest.
The United States of America should go back to be a colony of the United Kingdom.
Okay, is that how it works now? Whoever gets there first gets to keep it? So I guess Russia gets to keep Ukraine. Sounds like the Danes are saying.
I mean, he did say that.
I don't know. I have a better military doctrine. That's if You don't use it, you lose it. And they know it. And that's why they're begging Rubio for a meeting. And look at that. Trump makes a threat. Now they're coming to the table. They want to do a deal. There's a method to the madness. Maybe we use the oil money from Venezuela to buy Greenland. Maybe we just share it with the Danes. I hear the Scandinavians like to get down like that. We don't judge. Either way, after the Maduro raid, Trump has the wind at his back.
After the ousting, look at that. The support through the roof. Now we're talking about 37%. It turns out Americans like what they deem to be successful foreign policy operations.
Yeah, because here's the real, guys. This could actually have positive effects in the USA. Unlike the wars that happened, throughout the Middle East, that we were just fighting terrorism and there was really no benefit that was going to come back to the homeland at all whatsoever. Yeah, this here, we can actually see some type of fruits come out of this. I mean, we take their oil, we can lower our own gas prices, we get access to their resources, we start rare earth mining or rare earth refinery in Venezuela and the US, so we don't have it taxing on our environment. I mean, this could work out for us. Unlike our past attempts at regime change, where we didn't really get anything back for switching out a leader. Now we might actually get something out of it. Maybe, praying.
And in this case, they view the ousting of Maduro, at least up to this point, as a successful one, and therefore the support way up.
After all, we are not being the world's policeman. We're not doing this for the world like we usually do. We're doing it for us. And what is it that we're doing? We're looking out for ourselves, our people, our neighborhood, our country. Now, if the left can't get it together, Miller is going to be really mad.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here.
Now, Miller was funny. Like, I don't give a damn. I was like, okay. Bro, that Steve Miller interview with Jake Tapper, but that was too funny. He said, I don't give a damn, bro. Jake Tapper's face just looked so surprised, like, oh, you're just being upfront with it now. You just don't care. It's like, yeah, we don't, because there could be positive reverberations throughout America. Not to sound like Bibi Netanyahu, but there might just actually be some positive reverberations in America. I mean, we would like that for once.
Welcome to Hannity. And tonight, unrest on the streets of Iran, Cuba on the brink of collapse. Meanwhile, China, Russia, and Iran, they just lost their biggest ally in the Western Hemisphere. And the air defense systems given to Venezuela by China and Russia, they were no match for the U.S. military. As a result, Nicolas Maduro, oh, look at that. He's now locked up in a New York City jail. And for those of you that are wondering, apparently Greenland is very much in play. I think President Trump may make them an offer they may not want to refuse. Now, a lot is at stake in the coming days and weeks and months. The leader of the Iranian opposition, Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, will also join us tonight, and Senator Lindsey Graham, Senator Tim Scott, they will be here, along with the U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Michael Waltz. Maybe it's time to say bye-bye to the UN. Now, he will respond to the far-left wannabe diplomats at the UN.
I mean, yeah, because I'm going to be real with you. It's looking like we'll be pulling out of NATO and the UN, because they're only talking tough because they have us backing them up. NATO only talks tough because we would back any of the countries that get attacked up. Back them up. If we're not in there, trust me, NATO, they sit their ass down. UN, they'll sit their ass down. They're only doing this because they have the backing of the United States. So maybe we do need to take ourselves out of NATO and the UN and let them solve their own problems. Let them to get into a war with Russia on their own, instead of trying to provoke war with Russia and try to drag us into it.
And who are now predictably taking the side of Venezuelans' ex-brutal dictator Nicolas Maduro. All of this, plus tonight, Hannity shootout. We're going to have our old friend, comrade Bill de Blasio, talk about his fellow comrade, Zoran Kami Marxist Mamdani, and his very extremist views and his team of extremists.
I mean, I heard that, bus fare went up like $3, and it was hilarious. People were upset. They were like, wait, hold on. How bus fare go up $3? And one of your main talking points was free buses. Like, how does that work? You're raising prices after you just, went out there and told everybody, oh, no, we're actually going to lower prices. Things are going to be free. Well, Mandani, people asking where they free shit at, bro. You late, and they want they free shit, and you promised it to them. So guess what? Even though I'm not a fan or a supporter of free shit, you promised it to them. So you better give the people what they want. I'm a supporter of that. I'm always be a supporter of, delivering to the people who voted you in every single time. All right. Oh, and shout out to my man Jet. He said they are all. Yeah, he said they all are barking chihuahuas, like Cuba said. I mean, honestly, talking all that ish just to be quiet when we enter the door. I mean, that hopefully Cuba don't turn themselves into that situation. But let's go ahead and look at this poor victim of Zoran Mandani's lies.
He lied. He lied big time.
We know.
He lied big time.
We told you.
Subway fare increases to $3. I thought shit was going to be free. I thought the buses was going to be free. I thought the trains was going to be free. He lied. The trains have officially started today, and they done spiked the fare and bus to $3. You son of a bitch. You tricked us and played us all. We all knew it. A lot of us knew it. But the people, he's giving her a free this. Everything's going to be free. Everything's going to be good. He's dancing with you. He's partying with you. He's acting like you. And he fooled you and tricked you. You thought he cared about you. He never did.
I mean, bro, you expected a rich boy. I'm gonna be real with you. You expected somebody that had enough money and enough free time from his parents that he was able to drop a rap video where Nigeria or Uganda? I think it was Uganda. In some African country, this man be trying to become a rapper. We're talking about, bro, had enough mommy and daddy money for that. And you thought he knew anything about affordability? You thought he knew anything about how to make your life more affordable? Bro, I mean, we were trying to tell you, but you were trying to call us racist and Islamophobe and all that crazy stuff. You know what? Some people on the right are some Islamophobes. I'll give you that one. But they were actually spitting truth when they were talking about, the policies are going to sink you guys. But hey, I mean, look, man, the midterms still got about a good 5 months left. Let's see if Zoran Mandani can go ahead and win it for us.
Are they now implementing very racist policies in New York City? As you can see, the news is developing at a rapid pace, both at home and abroad. Democrats on Capitol Hill, they're stuck in 2021. Today, they commemorated the January 6th Capitol riots with a very solemn candlelight vigil. This is worthy of a Saturday Night Live skit. They were singing. But we begin tonight with actual breaking news. Now tonight out of Venezuela, the Don Road Doctrine, as it is now called, is in full effect. And Venezuelan oil will soon be flowing right here into the U.S. and hopefully to the people of Venezuela. The president putting on Truth Social, he made the following statement, quote, interim authorities in Venezuela will be turning over between 30 and 50 million barrels of high-quality sanctioned oil to the U.S. This oil will be sold at market price, and that money will be controlled by me as the president of this country to ensure it is used to the benefit of the people of Venezuela and the United States. That is a whopping $2.5 billion for the American and Venezuelan people. And just to recap, in just 3 daring hours inside Venezuela, Trump removed an illegitimate dictator, narco-terrorist, saved Americans in this country from the lethal drug trade that he was profiting off of. They also eliminated a key ally for Russia, China, and Iran, took control over the largest oil reserves in the entire world, and are
estimated to have about 1 trillion barrels of oil, enough oil to last us, like 250 years? I mean, that's nice. Yeah, 1 trillion barrels of oil.
Enriching both the people of Venezuela and the American people will benefit in the end as well. So, yeah, despite the performative groans from the Democratic Party, this move was incredibly popular. Take a look.
Okay, U.S. military ousting Maduro. Pre-ousting, what you saw was the clear plurality of Americans opposed at 47%, just 21% support. Come over to this side of the screen. After the ousting, look at that. the support through the roof. Now we're talking about 37%, well within the margin of error right here of the opposition, 38%. It turns out Americans like what they deem to be successful foreign policy operations. And in this case, they view the ousting of Maduro, at least up to this point, as a successful one, and therefore the support way up. They believe that he should be on trial for drug trafficking. Look at this, 50% of Americans favor compared to just 14% who oppose. So there are very...
I mean, yeah, he had charges for drug trafficking since 2020. So, I mean, I don't know who the 14% who opposed it, but they probably weren't too informed about that.
Very few Americans here who oppose it. Even among Democrats, the opposition number is below, get this.
Really?
Just 24% is below 25%.
The Dems.
Now, Matt Towery, Insider Advantage, had it at 56%, but make no mistake.
I mean, of course. Now, shout out to my man Sid. He was telling me as well. He was like, bro, not all Democrats are out here celebrating or saying free Maduro. He likes to call that the radical few, even though, you see these guys out there on the street, but whatever, I'll give it to him. But yes, not all Democrats are out here just trying to say free Maduro and we're wrong for doing what we did. A lot of Democrats are saying we should have been did this. And kudos to them. At least they're being consistent.
This doesn't begin and end with Venezuela. The Trump administration now eyeing swift action in Cuba with a potential oil blockade. That country is in deep trouble tonight. And in Iran, President Trump has vowed to back the protesters. And we have a lot of video to share with you tonight protesting that country's radical Islamist regime. Take a look at your screen. Major clashes are now underway across the entire country of Iran, including its capital city, where now 36 have been killed. The mullahs, they are losing their grip on power as we speak. Their proxies have been...
Yeah, and we shouldn't get involved because these guys are protesting. It'd be a pretty stupid-ass reason to strike Iran. And, I'm going to be real with you. What are they going to do? They're going to bound together against the U.S., okay? So let's let these guys handle their own government problems. Let them have their little uprising, and we'll deal with the winner. We'll deal with the new government. And it already sounds like the Ayatollah Khomeini or the leader Khomeini are about to leave. There's the word on the global streets. This man's ready to flee to Russia with Assad.
Humiliated, their nuclear program obliterated, their economy is in shambles, and they're even running out of water and other critical supplies. And get this, the government is now reportedly offering their citizens a whopping $7 a month. Wow, to stop protesting. That's right, $7 a month, a bribe. That is desperate government, short on options and short on cash, obviously. The Ayatollah even reportedly has contingency plans in place to flee to Vladimir Putin's Russia. I'm sure a lot of cash will be on that plane or some type of currency. And what comes next? And what role, if any, will the U.S. play? Hey, Sean Hannity here.
I mean, like I said, we don't want to get involved. We don't need to get involved, man. If he leaves, that's fantastic. We didn't have to do nothing. Israel didn't have to strike them. And now we can deal with the new government of Iran. I mean, I'm always down for that because it can't be, well, knock on wood, but it can't be any worse than the Ayatollah. But all right, now let's get to this Maria Machado, the young lady that we kind of sidelined. We said we were going to bring her in, but we haven't really developed a plan to bring her in yet. But, let's hear from her. We haven't heard from her in a minute.
Now, following the capture of Maduro over the weekend and the end of his horrific regime, the question remains, who will succeed the brutal dictator and bring much needed change and freedom to the country? One name making headlines is Venezuela's opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado. Remember, she rose to prominence after winning the independently run opposition presidential primary with more than 92% of the vote before Maduro then dictated that she be taken off the ballot. Now, that was only back in 2023. In the hours following the successful raid and the arrest of Maduro, Machado posted on X saying, quote, Venezuelans, the hour of freedom has arrived. Now, remember, upon winning the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize, Maria dedicated that prize and award to President Trump. She said on X, quote, in part, I dedicate this prize to the suffering people.
Yeah, because it's kind of funny. We gave her a Nobel Peace Prize for speaking out against Maduro while Trump was actually trying to, get Maduro out of power or pressure him to leave. But, she got it. The man with the actual power that can actually get Maduro to leave, which he did, didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize, but the lady that was just talking, she did. And you know what I mean? Shout out. I respect the work, but man, I mean, we gave it to the talker, not the doer.
Venezuela, and to President Trump for his decisive support of our cause. But that is far from the only praise she has given President Trump. Now, following his decisive victory against Kamala Harris, she congratulated the president, promised that the rightful democratic government of Venezuela would be a reliable ally to the U.S. Now, she was also quick to thank President Trump for his, quote, firmness and determination in upholding the law after Maduro was ousted. In fact, since he won in November of 2024, Maria Corina Machado has thanked President Trump and his support and commended his resolve to help the people of Venezuela many, many times publicly and on X and elsewhere. She joins us now for an exclusive interview. Maria, it's good to see you again. How are you?
I'm fine, and I want to thank you, Sean, you personally and Fox News for the incredible support you have given throughout all this long journey for the cause of democracy of our people in Venezuela.
Let's go back to 2023. You won 92% of the vote to be the opposition leader. Maduro prevented you from being on the ballot. How was he able to do that?
Well, because they absolutely control the judiciary system and also the electoral council. So it was a miracle. Everybody told us it was impossible to carry independent elections in a primary process. And we were able to bring the country together to carry these elections organized by civil society with millions of people participating. And the fact is that cowardly, he feared us, he feared me, Maduro, so he thought that by banning me, he would stop us from winning. But exactly the opposite happened. Edmundo González Urrutia standing in my place, and we moved all around the country and managed to bring a country together and defeated Maduro by a landslide with incredible, under extreme conditions, unfair conditions, Sean.
Well, that was the person that replaced you and that you're very close to. But let me go back and talk about it. You stayed in the country, but you were hiding within your country until you went to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. And I want you to tell us, you never went back at that point. Did you not go back because you feared for your life? And tell us, I mean, it's not very usual.
I mean, yeah, we had to sneak her out the country. She didn't show up for the Nobel Peace Prize when she was supposed to because she was being helped to be snuck out the country. I mean, shout out to the military vet that did that. He did an interview on CNN, so shout out to that guy. Now, the problem with Miss Machado here is that, well, according to Maduro and Trump, is she doesn't have as much support as is claimed. Now, like I say, Fox News and everybody else is claiming like she has such a huge support base in Venezuela and they just can't wait for her to touch down. But that doesn't really seem to be the truth, because even Maduro and Trump stated that, well, most of the people that are with her on her side have left Venezuela or have been killed. And then they're pretty much also saying that if you brought her in, her regime wouldn't last more than 48 hours. So it seems like she didn't really have that much of a standing or a strong standing in Venezuela like we thought she did. But we'll see, because if we bring her in, I mean, we'll get everything we want and more out of Venezuela. I mean, trust me, everybody's going to get more than they're going to get more out of Venezuela with her in power, especially the United States. But there are people in Venezuela that, well, see her as a sellout. So we'll see how that works out.
People will dedicate the Nobel Peace Prize to the leader of a different country and say publicly, he deserves this more than I do. But you did that.
Let me be very clear. As soon as I learned that we had been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, I dedicated to President Trump because I believed at that point that he deserved it. And a lot of people, most people said it was impossible to achieve what he has just done on Saturday, January 3rd. So if I believed he deserved it on October, imagine now. I think he has proven to the world what he means. I mean, January 3rd will go down in history as the day justice defeated a tyranny. It's a milestone, and it's not only huge for the Venezuelan people and our future. I think it's a huge step for humanity, for freedom and human dignity.
Have you spoken with President Trump since then?
I spoke with President Trump on October 10th, the same day the prize was announced. Not since then, but I do want to say today, on behalf of the Venezuelan people, how grateful we are for his courageous vision, the actions, historical actions he has taken against this narco-terrorist regime to start dismantling this structure and bringing Maduro to justice, which means that 30 million Venezuelans are now closer to freedom, but also that the United States of America is a safer country nowadays.
Right. Did you at any point offer to give him the Nobel Peace Prize? Did that actually happen? I had read that somewhere. I wasn't sure if it was true.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, but I certainly would love to be able to personally tell him that we believe the Venezuelan people, because this is a prize of the Venezuelan people, certainly want to give it to him and share it with him. What he has done, as I said, is historic. It's a huge step towards a democratic transition. And I want to convey this to the American people, Sean. A free Venezuela means, first, a security ally, dismantling the criminal hub of the Americas and turning it into a security shield. You know, the strongest ally to dismantle all these criminal structures that have made, so much damage and harm to our people and to the American people as well. Secondly, we will turn Venezuela into the energy hub of the Americas. We will bring rule of law. We will open markets. We will give security to foreign investment. And third, we will bring millions of Venezuelans that have been forced to flee our country back home, to build a strong nation, prosperous nations, open society. We will leave behind all the destruction this socialist regime, criminal regime has brought to our people and turn Venezuela into the main ally of the United States in Latin America.
You also offered reparations to Laken Riley's family and other families that have lost loved ones because of Tren de Aragua. Now the question is, when do you believe that you might make your return to Venezuela? Do you feel safe in doing so? And when you get back, obviously there has got to be stability. And I would assume, and the president has said at the right point, when there's security, that in fact the Venezuelan people then will govern themselves. Are you okay with that transitional plan?
Well, first of all, I'm planning to go back to Venezuela as soon as possible. As I've always said, Sean, every day I make a decision where I am more useful for a cause. That's why I stayed in hiding for over 16 months. And that's why I decided to go out, because I believed.
Now, here's the problem with Maria Machado and the current president, which is D.I.C. Rodriguez to Venezuela. Here's the problem. One is pro-Israel. Yeah, one's a Zionist who says that she'll recognize Israel as a state and all this good stuff. And then there is D.I.C. Rodriguez, who is, pro-Palestine. She doesn't recognize Israel as a state. She believes what they're doing is a genocide and all that good stuff. So we're talking about, and we got Machado, who believes in working with the U.S. completely and basically handing everything over to us, while D.I.C. Rodriguez is over here talking about, we need to resist America and stop America imperialism that has a Zionist tinge to it. And she literally said that. What we did in Venezuela has a Zionist tinge. So you kind of see where both of these women kind of stand on, the opposite side of the political spectrum and the opposite side of a lot of issues.
That at this moment, I'm more useful to our cause, being able to speak out from where I am right now. But I'm planning to go as soon as possible back home. Secondly, what we're seeing right now in the last 24 hours is really alarming. We're seeing an escalation. Just today, an executive order signed by Maduro the same day he was ousted and he was detained. Imagine that, of external commotion has been published. And it states, it mandates persecution and detention of every Venezuelan that supports President Trump's actions. Just today, 14 journalists have been detained. So this is very alarming. This is something that has to be followed carefully, I'm sure, by the United States government and by the Venezuelan people. And certainly we believe that this transition should move forward. Delcy Rodriguez, as you know, is one of the main architects of torture, persecution, corruption, narco trafficking. She's the main ally, and Leah's.
I mean, and that's what was always strange to me is like, yo, if we were trying to take out Maduro, why not take out his second in command as well, which is DIC or Tulsi, whatever. I think she said DIC Rodriguez. But yeah, why not take her out as well? Why leave her there because the Supreme Court of Venezuela made her the interim president. They didn't just bring in her because apparently, well, the Supreme Court don't want this lady in. I mean, so it seems like we kind of left the Maduro regime in power. We just took out the leader, the main guy. And I'm gonna be honest with you, if the second command is still there, they can still keep it going. Because so if we were really going to take out the Maduro regime, we'd have to take out, of course, Maduro, which we did. We might have to go ahead and double back around and take out this Rodriguez lady. And then we might have to go ahead and handle the Supreme Court guys because they're the ones who put this lady in. We got a lot of work to do in Venezuela still, it seems.
With Russia, China, Iran, certainly not an individual that could be, trusted by international investors, and she's really rejected, repudiated by the Venezuelan people. So we move forward, and as you mentioned, and we won an election by a landslide.
And shout out to our man Juan Fasihiro. He says the problem with Machado is the way I see it is that she is a pacifist. I don't blame. Well, okay, yeah, she is a pacifist. I don't blame her for that. But as a Venezuelan, I would love to see her tell the people to rise against the Chavez, the Chavistas one more time. And you know what? Here's the thing. I agree with you. Trust me. You don't think I want to see these guys turn into a capitalist utopia where they can all benefit from their resources and they're not just treated like some third world country at the behest of the first worlds. Like, I would love to see that for the people of Venezuela. The problem is that the leadership who don't want to see that for the people of Venezuela is still effing there. How are we going to get this young lady in without doubling back on Venezuela? Because it looks like that's what we're going to have to do. And yeah, you're right. She does seem like to be a bit of a pacifist, but let's be honest. If she does call for that, she might be calling for, violence against those who support Maduro. And I don't think she want to call for violence against, I guess, her so-called own citizens, own people. So I can get where she wants to be a pacifist. But I agree with you all this as well, though. She also needs to raise a flag and be like, yo, we need to see more protests. We need to see more news outlets out there showing that the people actually want the Maduro regime out, and we're not just listening to the state propaganda that they're running, because right now all types of propaganda is being ran right now. There's propaganda being ran to make this look like it was the best thing ever. There's propaganda being ran to make it look like this is just heading towards a doomsday scenario. And I'm over here in the middle just trying to see where it goes right now, because like I said, it could turn out bad and it could have positive reverberations throughout the United States and Venezuela if we do it right. If we can get them over to capitalism and most likely switch over their currency to the American dollar, I can see prosperity for the Venezuelan people. But if we don't remove that regime, or we don't get that regime to work with us, then we're just talking shit at that point. We're not really dedicated towards it. And I guess it was all just about Maduro instead of trying to assert our dominance hemispherically. But we'll see how this turns out, because in my personal opinion, we are actually trying to take over Venezuela, with using less force as possible. So we're kind of hoping that the regime turns over and just be like, you know what, we don't want to die, so we'll just turn over. But we'll see, guys. We will see. We might have some real freedom fighters here.
Under fraudulent conditions in free and fair elections, we will win with by over 90% of the votes. I have no doubt about it.
Maria Corina Machado, thank you. Godspeed. Please be safe.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox.
I mean, bro, if you did not understand a single word I said, I think you might be the retarded one, my friend. I think you might be. Think about it. When all 300 of us can understand something that you can't, I think you're the idiot in the chat. But all right, have a good one. All right, though. Now let's get on to what the left side of media is saying. We have to cover both sides here. So let's go ahead and start off with CBS. I played this video earlier, but I do need to replay it.
This morning, deposed Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife are back in a Brooklyn detention center, awaiting their next court date. The two pleaded not guilty yesterday to 4 federal charges, including narco-terrorism. The couple was captured by U.S. forces in the Venezuelan capital on Saturday amid a military strike. Now, back in Venezuela, Vice President and Maduro loyalist Delcy Rodriguez was officially sworn in as the country's interim president. Rodriguez is striking a delicate balance as she tells the U.S. she wants lasting cooperation while also condemning Maduro's arrest as a kidnapping. And we're also starting to see the real human consequences of the U.S. military operation play out. An 80-year-old Venezuelan woman who died Saturday after the strike was laid to rest. Her family says explosives shattered their home and caused a lung contusion.
Oof. And yeah, I mean, of course, RIP to that lady and God bless her family. And I hope they get through that. But yeah, I mean, when they said no citizens were hurt, they meant ours. They meant ours, guys. I mean, there were Cuban citizens that were killed, but those guys were regarding Maduro. They're fair game. But this old lady, I mean, like I said, it's collateral. It's a consequence that, I mean, I don't agree with. But hey, man, if you didn't think that they were going to rub it in our face if even one person died, you're wrong.
Joining us live from the Colombia-Venezuela border is CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano. Lilia, thank you for your time today. A lot of people are on edge right now. Gunshots were reported yesterday near the presidential palace. So what happened there? And what is the sense of security right now among locals where you are?
Well, where I am is in Colombia. I mean, this is a volatile area. It's near the border. There are crime issues, but not necessarily related to what's happening in Venezuela. So this is safe. We're outside of Venezuela. Right now, Venezuela is pretty stable in terms of security because the regime has stayed in power. Their forces, both the armed forces.
Oh, guys, I have an access in a minute, but make sure you guys double tap that screen and like the video, guys, as it says down there and up there. Yeah, make sure you double tap the screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation and make sure to subscribe to the channel, guys, because we have over about 300,000 of you guys that come here every month for the past 6 months, and you ain't even subscribed yet. So end the cycle today by subscribing. Appreciate the support, guys.
Meaning the military, the national, the local, the state police, and then the unofficial Maduro loyalist forces that work to threaten and intimidate people serving the interests of the regime, but outside of the law, are all active. There is an actual order by the regime that came out over the weekend that the police and that security forces would search, find, and capture people who have expressed themselves in any kind of support or perceived support of the actions on Saturday, of the attack and the capture of Maduro. So things there seem to be stable, meaning still under the repression of the regime that has been ongoing.
So yeah, the regime did just put out, well, basically a law, and they're putting out an order that anybody caught supporting, you know, to capture Maduro or wanting back Maria Machado, yeah, you're gonna get locked up, or I mean, worst case scenario, unalive. Oh yeah, I mean, that's the main problem with leaving the opposition in power. I mean, what did we really accomplish if these guys are still being, you know, I guess they're still living under the tyranny of this Maduro regime? But all right, let's go ahead and get over to CNN and let's see what they're saying about, well, Greenland. Let's get over to our guy, Anderson Cooper.
President Trump going after Venezuela's oil now that former leader Nicolas Maduro has been deposed by the United States. Posting on Truth Social, quote, "I am pleased to announce that the interim authorities in Venezuela will be turning over between 30 and 50 million barrels of high-quality sanctioned oil to the United States of America. This oil will be sold at its market price, and that money will be controlled by me as President of the United States of America to ensure it is used to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States. I've asked Energy Secretary Chris Wright to execute this plan immediately. It will be taken by storage ships and brought directly to unloading docks in the United States. At today's prices for oil on the open market, a shipment of that size would be worth approximately between $1.8 billion and $3 billion. CNN's Chief White House correspondent Kaitlan Collins joins us shortly with more on this. Also tonight, the Trump administration stating in no uncertain terms that it is considering a variety of options on possibly acquiring Greenland, and that the deployment of the United States...
I mean, not just Greenland, man. We talking about, we talking about Greenland, Colombia. Shoot, I got the list right here, man. We got a list. We got Greenland, Colombia, Cuba, Mexico. I mean, then we got, of course, we got all of our own reasons, like Cuba, drugs. I mean, Colombia, drugs. Mexico, drugs, and then Greenland, well, Atlantic power and resources. But you could also add, resources and all that good stuff to Colombia and Cuba as well if you want to. But mainly we want to try to overthrow I believe what was it? Do we really want to say cartel? Yeah, I guess we could comfortably say the narco terrorist that is running that state. Or I'm sorry, not that state, but that country. Cuba did most definitely. Now, Colombia, I mean... yeah, them too, but I don't really think their leader is all that involved. I'll give the guy that.
Its military is not off the table. Of course, this is coming just days after the military's successful capture of Venezuela's leader, Maduro. In a statement late today to CNN, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said, quote, President Trump has made it well known that acquiring Greenland is a national security priority of the United States, and it's vital to deter our adversaries in the Arctic region. The president and his team are discussing a range of options to pursue this important foreign policy goal. And of course, utilizing the U.S. military is always an option at the commander-in-chief's disposal. Now, Greenland is more than 830,000 square miles. It's got a lot of natural resources, including rare earth minerals, which are increasingly crucial to the global economy. It's a former Danish colony.
Well, not really. I mean, the rare earth minerals, well, everybody got rare earth minerals. It's like the rare earth is kind of the misleading part of the name. The problem is rare earth refining rare earth minerals for use for our technology. That is straining on the environment. And this is why China dominates in it, because they don't give a damn. Remember, China don't give a damn about their environment. They don't care about the national parks. They literally have to stop themselves from deforesting themselves completely. So, yeah, we're talking about people who don't give a damn about their environment, nor the people who live around these rare earth manufacturer refineries that actually get lung cancer from it. They don't care. They just keep it going. And that's one of the main reasons why we don't do rare earth refinery at such a large number, is because, well, I mean, bro, we got like the most tree huggers here ever. Bro, they're literally going to strap their asses to the goddamn bulldozers if we try rare earth refinery. They're going to strap their asses to the fucking manufacturing plants, whatever. But trust me, our tree huggers will not allow what China allows when it comes to rare earth refinery. I'm telling you that right now. I'm not saying that is this complete devastation on the environment, but it ain't good. And if we can have it split up within different countries that we can utilize it in, that we can utilize it from, like, I don't know, Greenland, we can do rare earth refinery over there instead of it hurting our environment here in America. It hurts Greenland environment a little bit. We share the pain. You feel me? Greenland takes a little pain. Venezuela takes a little pain. We do, all for the sake of rare earth refinery and not letting China dominate it.
And now an autonomous territory of Denmark. Today, America's major European allies expressed support for its current status, saying Greenland belongs to its people, and it's up to Greenland and Denmark to decide its future. Denmark's prime minister says that Greenland does not want to be part of the United States, but President Trump has been talking about this, as you know, for some time.
We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security, and Denmark is not going to be able to do it.
And the president's top policy advisor, Stephen Miller, said this to our Jake Tapper.
Greenland should be part of the United States. The president has been very clear about that. That is the formal position of the U.S. government.
Right, but can you say that military action against Greenland is off the table?
The United States should have Greenland as part of the United States. There's no need to even think or talk about this in the context that you're asking of a military operation. Nobody's going to fight the United States militarily over the future of Greenland.
Well, tonight, a source tells CNN that Secretary of State Marco Rubio has told lawmakers the Trump administration is considering buying Greenland and that he's downplaying concerns about U.S. military intervention in the short term. We start tonight with Caitlin Collins, CNN chief White House correspondent, the anchor of The Source. So the president says he'll control this money made from those 30 to 50 million barrels of sanctioned Venezuelan oil, and that'll benefit the people of both Venezuela and the U.S. Is it clear to you at all how that would work, exactly what that actually means?
No, and I'm not even sure it's clear inside the administration what they would do with the money made from this oil. This is very real, this deal that is coming together to deliver this oil from Venezuela, tens of millions of barrels to the United States. I've been talking to some officials about this tonight.
I mean, easy. Just add it to our stockpile, add it to our reserves. There you go. That's how we can use it. And I mean, adding to our supply or lowering the scarcity of our oil will bring down our prices. There you go. There's an advantage right there for you.
And basically what I'm told is that a majority of this is already produced and stored in barrels right now. It's actually, a lot of it's on boats currently. It's headed for U.S. facilities in the Gulf. That's where it's going to be refined. And they're basically making the argument that the reason this is happening so quickly is that it can't be stored for very long. It's very heavy crude that comes out of Venezuela. But I do think
like I said, Trump just sitting there with them oil barrels just like this right here.
I stole that shit. Stole that shit. That's what I'm doing, nigga. But nigga, I stole that shit.
I mean, like I said, man, Trump done evolved to a whole new level of gangster. He's out here stealing barrels of oil and saying, look, it's ours now, and I'm going to use it for my people. It's like, well, I mean, bruh, I didn't think we were going to go all mafioso on the world, but I like it. I like it. Why? Because it helps us out. And you know what? Usually I'm a non-interventionist type of guy. But it's only because due our history of intervention and regime change, it never works out for us. And all it does is cost us life and money. This is probably maybe, I don't know, I mean, somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, the one time where we've intervened and it has a benefit to us. The one effing time. Well, an upfront benefit to us. Upfront, something that we could possibly see.
Question going forward is this the one step? Is this one step of many that is going to happen going forward? Is this what the new U.S. relationship with Venezuela is going to look like, and what the president plans to do with the profits from that Venezuelan oil that he says is being handed over to the United States? And so those are all still big unanswered questions that we don't really know. But I think the one thing that has broken through ever since Saturday, but really, Anderson, long before that, when the president made clear that he thought Maduro should not be in power in Venezuela, is that this oil is of high importance to the president. He's in a meeting with oil executives. We are told by sources as soon as this week at the White House, and his energy secretary has been working on this. And so has the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and the Interior Secretary, Doug Burgum, as well. And so what this really is evidence of is just how quickly they are putting this in place. I mean, it was only a few days ago that Maduro was ousted from power, and now this oil, to 30 to 50 million barrels, according to the president's post, is already on its way to U.S. facilities in the Gulf.
And on Greenland, I mean, this was talked about a while ago. Now it seems back to the fore. How real is this drumbeat from the White House?
It's always been real. I think this is one thing that maybe has not fallen out of the headlines at points, but when I've been talking to officials at the White House, this is something that the president has been pretty consistent on since he took office. And it is something that when you speak to officials, they say he is.
Now, I believe we have a reserve of about 42 to 45 million barrels of oil. Hey, if we add this, we'll be at like what, 95 to 100 barrels of oil. So that's good. And like I said, we could add this to our reserve. It'll put us in a better spot.
Serious about it. And so I think just the calculation and what's happened in Venezuela has changed people's perspectives on this in terms of lawmakers and how seriously they're taking this. But you hear a lot of skepticism or just, sidestepping from Republican lawmakers on Capitol Hill when they are asked whether or not this is even necessary. As the president, argues it's against U.S. adversaries and it's to benefit the national security of the United States. That hasn't always been well articulated, but there have been working groups at the White House working on this very issue. And so we'll see how Secretary Rubio's comments to lawmakers, according to the Journal, that they want to buy it, not invade it, pans out, because again, we've heard from Denmark that they have said it's not for sale. And so that would likely cause some issues. But what
that's fine. What they going to do about it if we take it? So basically, it's like we're telling Denmark this. I mean, look, but we can pay you and we could do things the civil way, or we could just take it from you and you get no money from it, and you can go and bitch to the UN or NATO about it. I mean, like, we'll choose one. You could get you could get bought, you can get some money, you can get payments, billions of dollars, or we just take it from you and you got to go cry to the UN. I mean, which one you want to do? You could be out here like Venezuela, or you can get some money. I mean, the choice is yours. And if I were you, I would take the money.
Seem to be arguing, according to the Journal, is that the military bluster and what you've been hearing is to try to get those officials to work with them on actually purchasing it.
Caitlin Collins, thanks. We'll see you at the top of the hour on The Source. Joining me right now is Democratic Congressman Jake Auchincloss, Massachusetts. He's a Marine who served in Afghanistan as well as in special operations in Panama. Congressman, as we mentioned, the market price for 50 million barrels of Venezuelan oil would be somewhere up to $3 billion. For perspective, the Pentagon budget is about $900 billion. The U.S. national debt is more than $38 trillion. Does the money from that oil justify the cost of America's involvement there militarily? And
I mean, it does sustain the power of our petrodollar. And so, yeah, it could help us out further down the line. It could be an inflation driver. It can be a non-inflation driver, but it could be a deflation driver over the next 10 years. So nothing up front when it comes to, macroeconomics.
Otherwise?
No, and I don't think either the American people or Venezuelan people are ever going to get the benefit of that money regardless. My guess is it gets closeted up in some Trump meme coin somewhere.
I mean, come on, bro. All right, bro. If you're gonna make a joke, at least make it make sense. You can at least, he's gonna probably put it in the reserve, in our reserves, and that's gonna help us out. Like, at least be honest about that.
Congress right now, Anderson, really has 3 jobs amidst this chaos created by the White House. Number one, we got to prevent boots on the ground in Venezuela. We don't want jungle warfare. Number 2, we've got to prevent Latin American nations, particularly Brazil, from further drifting towards China, ironically in violation.
I'm be honest with you, if they try, we'll just take Brazil too. Like, do you not get the message? If you bring any type of foreign interference over into our hemisphere, you will lose your country. This is what Trump is pretty much saying. Like, if you do not read the Dunroe Doctrine, like, my man, let me give you a quick little clip of it, because I played this clip a lot of times, and y'all need to understand what's going on here.
So America just quietly dropped a new global doctrine. It basically says we're not the world's police anymore. Jeez, finally. We're the boss of our own hemisphere and everyone else can deal with theirs. On December 5th, the White House released Trump's new national security strategy. Inside the document is something they're already calling the Trump corollary to the old Monroe Doctrine. Translation, the United States is already declaring dominance over the Western Hemisphere. North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. He's basically saying that this is our neighborhood, our rules. At the same time, it signals something huge. America is stepping back from trying to manage every crisis on the planet. Here's the core of it. America first, but not just the slogan, as the actual blueprint. The strategy says that the US is done acting like a global babysitter and instead wants to be a regional superpower at home with select pressure overseas. It talks about sovereignty, borders, migration, cartels, critical minerals, energy, not spreading democracy or building global institutions. And in Europe, the document literally talks about civilization erasure, mass migration, and cultural collapse, and basically tells Europe you're on your own. In the Americas, this doctrine means cracking down on cartels and narco-terror groups, pushing back hard on China's influence in Latin America, and trying to stabilize countries down south so mass migration doesn't end up on US border. In Europe, leaders are freaking out. French and EU leaders are calling it brutal and a declaration of political war, because it blows up the old idea that America will always bail out Europe first. And on Russia and China, this doctrine quietly accepts a world of spheres of influence, meaning that it acknowledges that there are only 3 global powers, the US, Russia, and China. The goal is to avoid a giant global war by not trying to run everything anymore. So here's the question, is this smart realism where we're admitting that we can't police the entire planet, or is it dangerous because it gives Russia, China, and Iran more room to operate in their own backyards? Does America get stronger when it focuses on its own hemisphere, or weaker if it stops acting like the glue that holds the old world order together?
So do you see where we're going, guys? Do you see where we're going with this? When this man's over here talking about, oh, we're going to push these countries closer to China. I mean, I hate to say this, but they don't got the power to decide for themselves who they're going to work with. Brazil, yeah, they're not really a second tier country to where they can decide what superpower they want to mess with. Actually, we can pretty much control that. Actually, we can go in there and Brazil right now, take out their government, and it's ours now. That's what Trump is pretty much saying. You guys no longer have a choice of what superpower you're working with. You're working with America, like it or not. And I know what you're saying. They're sovereign countries said they could choose who they work with. Well, if it's our enemy, then I'm sorry. We're not allowing that anymore. And I know this sounds fucked up, and I don't fully believe in this. To be quite honest with you, I'm just giving you the real. I'm telling you what's going on as I'm reading it and as I'm seeing it. They're telling these other countries right now, you guys don't have a choice in what superpower you work with. Okay. So you don't you can't sit there and make the threats about, oh, well, we'll just go to China. Fuck around and you will lose your leadership. Okay. You will lose your position in that government. That's what we're telling the world. Do I agree with this? No, I do believe that these guys should choose who they want to work with. But I'm also a nationalist. So if it hurts the United States in any way, shape, or form, put my people in danger, my petrodollar in danger that my people depend on in any way, shape, or form, it's fuck them. Sorry. And trust me, I love people in the world and I think they should be sovereign too. But if it puts my well-being, my family well-being, my people's financial future in danger, fuck them. Sorry. But all right, let's keep going.
Of the Monroe Doctrine. And then third, we got to protect our alliances. We have to make clear that the military is indeed off the table in regards to Greenland.
If this sanctioned oil deal plays out the way the president says it will, does that signal the U.S. is likely to get cooperation on access and infrastructure from what he referred to as Venezuela's interim authorities? I mean, without further U.S. military action? I mean, do you see there being any actual change in like the human rights situation in Venezuela? There were an awful lot of people arrested by Maduro, tortured, who are in jails.
No, I don't. And this is what's so alarming is that Marco Rubio is trying to project this sense of calm and competence. But to quote his predecessor, Colin Powell, from 2 decades ago, before the disaster of Iraq, you break it, you buy it. Well, the United States just deposed the strongman of Venezuela. They left in charge the same gang of thugs who have been helping him to brutalize the Venezuelan people. And there's no plan. The president says he wants Chevron to go drill oil. Well, Chevron's going to ask for security assistance. Does that mean that U.S. troops are going to be armed guards for a bunch of oil executives? That's not what service members signed up for. It's not going to help the Venezuelan people. There's no strategy here. And yet Republicans in Congress continue to acquiesce to their dear leader as opposed to doing their constitutional job.
I mean, literally when President
And here's
Trump—
the problem. Did you see how dirty we did these guys? I mean, I want to let you guys know right now. If you're acting like we just flew in and we didn't get fired at in Venezuela not one time, you're wrong. Venezuela, they got what? Chinese radars supposed to be able to pick up our jets. That failed, by the way. They had these Russian, air defense systems that we blew up and failed, by the way. So if all of these countries, all of these Latin American countries don't have a more sophisticated army than Venezuela, I'm sorry, but all of this just talk. All of this just talk, guys. I mean, one guy say, well, you're not going to go out there and fight. I don't got to go out there and fight. They're the ones who got to go fight. I mean, we got too much dominance out here to be bringing in just random civilians. We don't need a draft for this. Apparently, we just need 4 hours and some free time.
Ran the first time, I remember interviewing him way back when, more than 10 years ago, and he was saying that in Iraq, the U.S. military should have just surrounded.
Here's the thing, though. I respect it. If you don't think I respect these people fighting back against us for their sovereignty and all this good stuff, I respect it because I'll do it myself. But then I also understand what a losing battle is as well. But I still respect it. It's just that, like I said, if it's at the risk of the American people, I mean, it is what it is. Sorry, but I'm going to put us first over you guys. Every single time.
Oil fields, and the U.S. sucked the oil out while the U.S. military kind of held a perimeter. That was his plan back then. Do you have any sense of, is there a plan from this administration?
What I'm hearing are the negatives. And what I mean by that is the president refused to rule out boots on the ground. Now, My boots have been on the ground in Latin America. I've seen what the tactics of jungle warfare would require. Now, remember that 2 generations of the U.S. military have trained in long line of sight
I mean,
tactics.
see, look, I would understand we're talking about jungle warfare if we missed Maduro and he got drugged into the jungles of Venezuela and we'd have to go there to dismantle the entire regime. Yeah, but we didn't have to do that. Now, I don't know, maybe we have to do it with Tosi Rodriguez, but last time I checked, Tosi Rodriguez ain't hiding in the jungles. So what jungle warfare are you talking about? Because we're not at war with Venezuela. I just want to let y'all know that right now.
Navigation and close air support. You can see for long distances in the desert. Dense canopy in the jungle, very different. Our troops would be dealing with close-in combat against enemies who have grown up and practiced in jungle warfare. We would be dealing with malaria. I know RFK doesn't believe in it, but it exists. And these are not things that this administration has planned for. These are not things that Congress has debated. These are not things that the American public supports.
Shout out Jed. He says China and Russia's missiles went limp on Venezuela. Yeah, you remember that video where like it looks like there were things like falling down, like rockets falling down on Venezuela? Yeah, that was their missile defense system failing on them. Yes, China and I think they were mostly Russian rockets, actually. Their missile defense system, I think it mostly comes out of Russia. Those failed them. It actually ended up falling back on them. I mean, if these other Latin American countries are buying the same equipment, they're fucked. They're screwed. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. But they're screwed. There's nothing they can do to us. We just need to pull out the F-35s and they're cooked. Shoot, pull out the B-2 bomber and they really can't even find us on the radar.
With regards to Greenland, what do you make of what you're hearing from the White House? The president consistently said since the start of his second term, the United States needs Greenland due to national security. Denmark is a NATO ally. I mean, if the president wanted...
Oh, and shout out Jed again. I just seen this one. Like for trade, they can have Minnesota for Greenland. I'll give that up. Why not? Why not, man? I mean, yeah, you can go ahead and have Minnesota. We'll go ahead and take Greenland. Got more resources, all that. The people probably a little bit nicer. You never know.
To station additional U.S. military.
Never mind. There's some pretty nice ass people in Minnesota. That's why they call it Mennonites for a reason.
Assets or radar stations there. I assume you could negotiate with Denmark to do so.
Yes, and indeed, Denmark has never rejected a U.S. request for an expanded military presence on Greenland. We're the only military presence there. I don't know what the president is talking about. Yes, we are an Arctic power. Yes, we need ice cutters in the polar. Yes, we need to push back on Russian and Chinese expansionism in the Arctic. We can do all those things. That's the thing about NATO, is that we're actually super close allies with Denmark.
I mean, look, retired paratrooper. Like, I respect your service because look like you're a serviceman, but don't be an idiot, bro. I mean, you know, our technology done advanced a long time from then. Like, to be quite honest with you, we've had advancement in technology. I'm like, bro, we got lasers on boats now. We have a whole new jet. I mean, the only thing we really haven't advanced on is our missile system. So, yeah, I'm sorry, but Venezuela is not Afghanistan. I would hope you understand that, especially not in size or population. So I'm not really sure who you calling the fucking idiot, but as somebody who's been to war, I think I would hope you be more educated than that, my friend.
And this belligerence is only undercutting the united front that we need while NATO is facing two conflict points now, not just Ukraine, but also the Western Balkans. The last thing it needs is a third caused by its own member, the United States. And this is something, Anderson, that Republicans in Congress should be able to do. They're too weak to take the president on regarding Venezuela, but goodness gracious, they should be able to say the military is off the table against a NATO ally.
Man, green looks nice in the summertime. But anyway, though, he's like, oh, 100 years ago, we gave Denmark. Yeah, we could take it back. I mean, who's going to stop us? Like I said, who's going to stop us, bro? If we took Greenland today, who's going to stop us? Exactly. And when I say that, there's always crickets in the room because everybody's thinking the same thing. Like, you're right, Seth. Who is going to stop us if we just took Greenland? Nobody. Everybody's going to be sit there crying and all that good stuff. And I mean, rightfully so. It is kind of fucked up, but who's going to stop us? Exactly. Not a soul, and everybody's going to sit down and let us do it. I mean, it's almost like I said, what happened if Russia was just to go ahead and kidnap Zelensky? What, you think we're going to bomb Russia? You think we're going to go try to kidnap Putin? No, we're not. No, we're not. Now, we may actually stick up for Taiwan, but I'm not even 100% sure on that. But all right, though, let's go ahead and get to the next video. 100 people found guilty of cyberbullying France First Lady. Okay, now that's actually hilarious. I'm pretty sure not focusing on this story, but yeah, Brigitte Macron is literally suing people and putting them in jail for calling her a dude. And she is a dude. She is. I mean, F what she talking about. Since you're throwing people in jail for it, now I want to double down on it.
U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says that the Pentagon will cut Senator Mark Kelly's retirement pay. Kelly and 6 Democratic lawmakers took part in a video reminding U.S. service members of their duty to.
Bro, what Europe is gonna? That's what I'm saying. You guys don't understand how the world works. Europe is basically full of second-rate countries that are being protected by the United States. To be quite honest with you, like you think Europe is a problem for us? I mean, bro, Europe is not even a problem for Russia. Okay, bro, you think they're a problem to us? Like I said, you guys want to threaten us with, oh my God, the Latin American countries are gonna stand up. I'm sorry, but if Venezuela is the best Latin American country have to offer in military power, they're screwed. Europe, they're nothing without us. They're nothing without the UN and NATO. So I'm not even sure where y'all getting this delusion from. But this is just the way the world really works. It's the sad reality.
Refuse illegal orders. The Democrats were accused by both Hegseth and President Trump of, quote, seditious behavior. Kelly is a retired Navy captain who served during Operation Desert Storm. Hegseth wants to cut his pay and reduce his retirement rank. Kelly says that he plans to fight the action.
Donald Trump, he deferred the draft 5 times because he had bone spurs.
Okay.
4 generations of service to this country earns me.
I mean, I never understood the criticism of that. Oh, well, he had bone spurs. Yeah, I mean, you weren't allowed to serve in the military if you had that element. So, or that or that disorder or whatever. I mean, so what's the problem with that? Oh, he had bone spurs. He didn't go to the military. Okay. And I mean, I'm not really sure what's so bad about that. I mean, what was he supposed to go into the military? And then when he FW to been like, oh, he had bone spurs, he should have never went. I mean, Jesus, it sounds like no matter how it would have went, you guys would have still found a way to demonize him.
The right to speak. 5 deferments earns nothing.
The Pentagon is seeking to punish Senator Mark Kelly for speaking out against Trump. The Navy veteran was one of 6 Democratic lawmakers, who took part in this video reminding U.S. troops about their duty to defy illegal orders. Now, Pete Hegseth called Kelly's statement seditious, and he issued a letter of censure. He said that the department is going to cut Kelly's retirement pay. In response, Kelly called Hegseth the most unqualified defense secretary in history, and he added that he will not be intimidated and plans to fight back. Congressman, you were also part of this video as well. What do you make of this move to punish Mark Kelly?
Let's call this what this is. This is Donald Trump and his cronies in the administration weaponizing the federal government to punish political opponents, to silence dissent and opposition. That's what's happening. There's no merit to the allegations. They are simply trying to seek vengeance on me, Mark Kelly, and others for speaking up. But they've picked on the wrong people, right? We are people that have taken an oath to this country. We are not going to back down ever. We're going to double down, triple down if we have to, because we are dedicated to the Constitution and to the rule of law. What we did and what we reminded our service members of is the simple obligation that they also have an oath to follow the rule of law.
That, by the way, Pete Hegseth also reminded service members of in the first Trump administration before he backed Trump, when he was worried that Trump would issue illegal orders. I mean, should he be worried that the next president might court-martial him, censure him, dock his retirement pay?
Well, look, I'll say I was reading Jonathan Turley. He's a legal scholar, and he says the Brits are the ones who gave us this idea of sedition, and we definitely use that too loosely. Not everything is sedition. Not everything is a punishable crime. And this video, I believe, was protected speech, and it does not constitute such a high crime. And I want to thank you for your service, Congressman. My dad was a captain in Vietnam, and he taught me a thing or two about chain of command. And when I saw this video, I was shocked because it felt reckless. It felt like it was undermining the chain of command of good order and discipline among troops and service members. So I want to ask you honestly, why the video? Why make a video when most service members already are aware that they can object to illegal orders
if they find them to be that way. So was it a PR stunt? Because it certainly came across that way. It poked all the right buttons with the Trump administration. And I'm not saying that what they're doing against Mark Kelly is justified, but I also think it was pure resistance theater. And I don't think that was a very productive use of your time as 6 very honorable former service members.
Well, let me answer your question with a story. Before I deployed to Iraq with my platoon of paratroopers, I knew that these young men, 18, 19, 20 years old, were about to be thrust into a very foreign, very volatile, very scary situation. So I gathered them around in our main room in the barracks, and I showed them the film Platoon. And in that movie, there is a scene where that platoon, under extreme duress and fear, ends up committing a massacre. It actually was an illustration of the My Lai massacre, which really happened in real life. And then I led a discussion with my paratroopers, and I asked them, how did this happen? How did they lose sight of their humanity? How did they lose sight of who they were as people? And they become the aggressors. So it was that discussion that led the groundwork, that laid the groundwork so that when we were in combat, we were in the fog of war, and they had to make—
I will say this: Kelly kind of pushed this on himself. It's like, bro, what he was doing was sedition. It was seditious, because if you actually look it up, yeah, he was pretty much telling these young troops telling these young military men that, yo, well, one, I'm gonna be real with you. They're trying to say you should disobey any orders that come from up top. And they're trying to say unlawful orders. But the problem is, if you're going to talk about unlawful orders and warn these military men, you better have a damn good example of what you're talking about, and not just say, oh, I was speaking ambiguously. Like, no, we're not hearing that. Like, if you're going to sit here and try to claim that there are unlawful orders being like sent down to the chain of command, please call that out. But don't just sit there and talk to our military men ambiguously, talking about, oh, you need to make sure you don't follow any orders, or any orders that you feel are unlawful. I mean, they got military lawyers for this and all that good stuff. They got the chain of command that it goes down. So who are you to just come out there and tell them what they should do? And if you are actually going out there doing that, telling them that they should disobey orders, and you're not in the military yourself, but you're ex-military, or you used to be, respect the service, yeah, that's sedition. That's a bit seditious. And be real with you, actually, it is seditious. So, yeah, you kind of brought this upon yourself. He kind of should have just kept his hands up and stayed out of it. Probably bitched about something else. That'd have worked out better for him.
Split-second decisions about what was right and wrong and whether to shoot or not. They had already received.
And I mean, let's be real. It is kind of condescending to low-key, like, say that to the young military men, because they're taught that. Like, they go through a very extensive class on, the do's and don'ts of the military. So if you just sit there and just talk to them like that as if they don't know that already, it is a bit condescending.
Training. If you wait until the last minute, you have failed them.
But you know what? I don't agree that his retirement should be took away. Like, regardless of, how much he hates Donald Trump and all that good stuff, don't take away the man's retirement. That's a bit fucked up. I mean, he definitely earned that. He put his life on the line for it. Regardless of his political, position, we shouldn't be taking away his retirement. Well, I mean, we can call him a dumbass and all that. We can make fun of him, but take away his retirement, dog. Come on, man. That's doing too much.
We started a conversation about what the law and Constitution requires of our soldiers. And that's what every commander should do. So instead of undermining the chain of command, it actually reinforces the chain of command and what the obligation of our soldiers are morally, ethically, and legally. And I will never back down from that obligation, because we have a commander-in-chief who has—
no, they don't. They don't need to hear it from Mark Kelly. They have their own commanders in there. They have their own upper brass that tell them that. So they don't need him telling them. That's what I'm saying. It's a bit condescending that you guys feel like you need to tell these military men what's unlawful orders, what's not. I mean, I'm sorry, but they already got people for that. Like, calm y'all asses down.
And to use the military to shoot protesters. Threatened to send the military to polling stations, which is a violation of U.S. law, which, committed a second strike in the Caribbean, which I think was a violation of law. All of these things.
And nope, this is not a suppression of free speech. I mean, it's kind of crazy. You don't really see how, sedition, sorry, but he's not getting thrown in jail. He's getting punished. He's getting punished for it. He's not getting thrown in jail. We're not taking away his rights. This is seditious. Like, we're not throwing it, we're not saying it, we're not really saying, oh no, you're losing your position, you're losing your retirement over opinion that you had. No, we're trying to take your retirement over the seditious comments that you made towards our military men. And I know you don't want to accept that, but that's the reality of what it is. And I may not agree with them trying to take his retirement, but what he said was seditious. That seditious 6 video, yeah, that's exactly what it was. He was trying to give recommendation, trying to give this military men advice, or pretty much try to recommend that they be insubordinate. That's not, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to promote insubordination to the military men. You cannot do that.
Give me grave concern right now. And that is why Mark Kelly, I, and others are reminding our service members and standing by them that they have an obligation to follow the law.
Quick response, Carol.
And I hear you on that, but I will note that one of the senators in the
hearing that
video,
too,
when
fine.
asked what specific instances of illegal military orders were you alluding to, because it wasn't specific, it was very ambiguous, which I also thought was irresponsible. If you're going to make these accusations that Trump, as commander-in-chief, is giving illegal orders, maybe name one, two?
I literally just answered that. That's what I just described, that we weren't talking about orders in the moment. But do you want
just a general sort of vibe?
So there you go. They wasn't talking about orders in the moment. It's like, that's why everybody looked at y'all crazy, because there was no unlawful orders that y'all can like point to. So it's looking pretty seditious. I mean, if you guys were to come out with that video during an order that was questionable, then yes, we'd be able to hear you guys out. But no, it kind of sounds like you were just saying F Trump and you were trying to get the military to turn against Trump or whatever orders Trump came down with. So yeah, I'm sorry, but if you guys would have did this and actually had an example of an unlawful order, we'd have been able to hear you out instead of just seeing it for the TDS that it is.
Hey, by the way, you have this right, even though they all are told they have that right.
That's what I literally just illustrated in the story.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, thank you, lady. It's condescending. It's kind of like, but now I don't know why, but that is the Democratic Party, condescending as hell, thinking that they got to tell you stuff that you already know. I mean, you're literally trying to tell military men about military law and unlawful orders, and they're just like, we already know this, bro. We don't need you to tell us this. You guys didn't need to make a whole video telling us about stuff we already knew. It's a bit condescending, but the Dems weren't trying to hear that one.
Yeah, well, no,
Right?
it's a great story.
Is it possible for me and others to shoot a video
be like that
when we think an order is being given that somebody has 5 seconds to execute that might be lawful or unlawful? Is that possible? No, it's not, right? What we were doing is starting a discussion about what the obligation of service members are, right? So when they're in the moment and they have to make that split-second decision, they've already thought about it.
We heard today from Defense Secretary Hegseth that he's moving to formally punish your colleague, Senator and retired Navy combat pilot Mark Kelly, for appearing in a video which he and other lawmakers told troops that they didn't have to follow illegal orders. Hegseth has accused the lawmakers of sedition. He says he intends to demote Kelly from the rank of captain, reduce his retirement pay. Senator Kelly responded saying, in part, I risk my life for this country and to defend our Constitution, including the First Amendment rights of every American to speak out. I never expected that the President of the United States and the Secretary of Defense would attack me for doing exactly that. What's your reaction?
Don't have nothing to do with the First Amendment, bro. It has everything to do with just sedition. All right. Nothing about First Amendment, everything to do with sedition. Like, he knows damn well what he did and what he said. So please stop trying to sit there and make it about something that it's not. It's not about your free speech. Just like you're trying to pull a Kimmel. Now, Kimmel said, oh, you're attacking my free speech, bro. What you did was news distortion. You came out there on television and you tried to tell your audience that the shooter was MAGA. The person that shot Charlie Kirk was MAGA. That's news distortion. While news was coming out disproving that. That's what you got hit for. Nobody was going against your free speech. But, you know, you guys say some wild stuff, you get held accountable. You want to talk about, oh, my God, they're coming for my free speech. No, they're holding your ass accountable.
Well, for those of us that are really worried that we could lose our democracy in 2026, this is what we're talking about. This is obviously an exceptional abuse of executive power, punishing a United States senator, demoting his rank in the military as a retired warfighter simply because he said something that the president disagrees with. But of course, this is happening throughout the federal government. Over and over again, the president is using whether it be the United States military or the Department of Justice, to punish anybody that opposes him. James Comey, Letitia James, the news media who have been banned from the Pentagon. We have never, ever in the history of this country seen a president so willing to use his official powers to try to censor speech, to try to control what people say, to punish people who disagree with him. Now, it's true.
Disagree? I mean, bro, what did they disagree with? They made a video talk about what don't follow unlawful orders without naming no unlawful order. Where was the disagreement? What they were doing was sedition. That's it. There was no disagreements. I mean, if you want to bring up Jimmy Kimmel, like, that wasn't the president that held the man accountable, and it wasn't even the FCC. That was ABC, the affiliates that held that man accountable. St. Clair Media Group. Look it up. So when you want to sit there and say that Trump did something to Jimmy Kimmel, no, he didn't. Neither did the FCC.
It hasn't silenced and won't silence Mark Kelly. Journalists like you and many others all across the country are still telling the truth. But this is how democracies die, and it's why we have to continue to raise alarm bells all over the country when it continues to happen.
All right. Like I said, I don't agree with the man over losing his retirement, but let's not sit here and pretend like he's being attacked because of his free speech. No. He can judge Donald Trump as much as he want. He could talk about anything in the world as much as he want. But when he made those seditious claims, he crossed the line as an ex-military man that he should have known. I mean, this is explained to you guys. So I'm not even sure why some of you are playing stupid who are even in the military. And I had military guys come here and tell me the same thing. Yeah, he was walking on a tightrope making those claims. But hey, it is what it is. You know, people feel how they want to feel, depending on what side they lean on. But all right, though, let's get over to some more geopolitical stuff. Trump was Iran again, and is Khamenei fleeing Tehran? Well, let's get into it, guys. With first post.
Whoa. Whoa. They start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard.
Iran is on edge. Protests in the country have now entered their second week, and what began as an economic outcry is slowly turning into a political test for Tehran. The protest erupted late in December 2025. The trigger was Iran's collapsing currency. It's called the rial. Over the past year, it has lost more than a third of its value against the US dollar. So prices of food, fuel, and daily essentials have shot up. Inflation is running above 40%. And for many Iranians, life has simply become unaffordable, which is why they took to the streets. Shopkeepers began closing their stores to protest against the mounting losses. Soon, university students joined in, and within days, people from all walks of life were out on the streets. Iran has 31 provinces. Reports say demonstrations have taken place in 23 of them. At least 16 people have been killed and hundreds have been detained. Security forces have been deployed across major cities, and clashes have been reported almost every day.
And look, it's not just the inflation crisis, because I believe inflation went from it's at 42, between 42 and 47. Like, you got even the merchants turning against the government, going like, bro, we can barely sell. The people are extremely poor. And we'll have a water shortage, while the Ayatollahs out here trying to provide weapons to Yemen, Hamas, and everybody else but their own damn people. It's like poor leadership, truly.
It's a tricky one for Iran's leadership, and their response has been mixed. An acknowledgement of people's hardships, but also a warning against protests. Their so-called supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, says the complaints are just and that the authorities should speak to the protesters. But he has also drawn a red line. Khamenei says the rioters must be, and I'm quoting, the rioters must be put in their place.
We talk to the protesters. They should talk. The authorities should talk to the protesters, but there is no point in talking to the rioters. The rioters should be put in their place.
Oh, okay. So he's distinguishing between, all right, he's like, the protesters, hey, look, man, they want to complain about the water shortage and, the crazy inflation, I mean, they have the right to do so. But the rioters who's effing up stuff and all that one, yeah, we're about to put them in their place, aka. Yeesh. And you know how they do things, public stonings and all that, public beheadings. They love their public executions over there.
That message has been echoed by Iran's judiciary. It says there will be no leniency for those accused of violence. At the same time, the government is also trying to ease the economic pressure. They've announced a monthly allowance for the citizens. The government will offer about $7 to every person. $7 to every person. The money will come as credit and it can be used to purchase basic goods.
$7? Like, bro, what? How much is stuff? What? It's like a whole thing of groceries, a whole cart of groceries. What? $2 or something? $7? Hey, no, the disrespect is real. I'd have been damn near offended, bro. We had people being offended at $7.50 from FEMA, $7 from the Ayatollah. Oh, hell no. No, they gotta go. They gotta go.
Individuals can receive an amount equivalent to 1 million tomans, approximately $7 per person per month, which is credited to their accounts for 4 months of Day, Bahman, S.E.T, and Farvardin. This is credit. It is only intended for the purchase of a series of goods and is in line with reducing the economic pressure on the people. This plan will be implemented from around January 10th, and people can make purchases with the amount deposited for them on a monthly basis.
Will this measure calm the streets? It's too early to say, and the world is watching closely. Here in India, the unrest in Iran is raising real concerns about the safety of Indian students there. These are mostly medical students. A student's body has written to the government in New Delhi.
Like, bro, we're all confused, right? I know we're all confused right now, going like, bro, what the F is $7 going to do for these people? Like, I doubt these guys are living in a society where groceries is like $1, $2 for a whole bag or a whole cart. If like they're living like that, then I mean, shoot, maybe we need to do what Iran's doing. But I doubt that's helping them in any way, shape, or form, to be quite honest with you.
Urging them to ensure the safety of Indians. Right now, there are nearly 3,000 Indian medical students in Iran. Most of them are dependent on local hospitals and infrastructure. The students' body has appealed to the government to prepare an emergency plan if required. New Delhi, for now, has issued an advisory for its citizens. It is asking Indians to avoid non-essential travel to Iran and has asked citizens to closely monitor the situation there. Meanwhile, the United States is using this protest to build pressure. Yesterday, President Donald Trump issued another warning to Tehran.
You, though, there's been protesters killed in Iran. You said we were locked and loaded, ready to go. What is the line there for when the U.S. is going to get involved in those protests?
We'll take a look. We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Trump has not specified what the U.S. would hit, but his repeated warnings have raised alarms. Iranian officials say the U.S. and Israel are inciting unrest.
Actions or statements by the Prime Minister of the Zionist regime, as well as by certain radical U.S. officials regarding Iran's internal affairs, are nothing but incitement to violence, terrorism, and killing in the language of international norms.
There are signs that Iran's top leadership is rattled by these warnings. A new report is out. It says Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has a contingency plan. He could leave Tehran for Moscow if the situation...
Oh, yo, shout out WIPOQ. Appreciate the support. He said 100 joules. My bad. He said 100 for 2 joules. Appreciate the support, my brother.
...spirals out of control. Of course, Iran has not confirmed this, but the report has gained traction because of the recent history in this region. In 2024, Syria's former president Bashar al-Assad also fled to Russia after losing control at home. Although for now, Iran's leadership insists that it is very much in control. They're putting up banners throughout Tehran warning foreign powers against any military action.
Wow, watch out for your soldiers. Well, I mean, that's quite the way to say, come fuck around and find out. He says, hey, bro, you want to come over here and interfere in our politics? I mean, look, we can make y'all coffins. I mean, bro, You know what? I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. 93 million people. I'm good. Bigger than Venezuela. Got more people than Venezuela. More better weapon tech than Venezuela. Yeah, y'all got it, man. Y'all got it. That's not gonna. We can win, but it's not gonna be an easy one. Not like Venezuela.
Meanwhile, Iranian diaspora is also making their voices heard. They have held rallies in the UK expressing solidarity with the protesters back home.
Change, change! Regime change! Regime change in Iran! Why the people of Iran? Terrorists, they must go!
It is really important that we show our solidarity with the people of Iran because in Iran, regimes try to say, because of the censorship and so on, they
All right, former political prisoner from Iran. Oh, okay.
try to say that you are alone, you have got no hope. But we are trying to say that, no, we are here, we are your voice. And in fact, we are trying to make a bridge between the people inside Iran and outside of Iran.
So this is where Iran stands tonight. Protests born out of economic pain, a state drawing red lines, and a government trying to buy time with limited concessions.
The world doesn't fit in boxes, so why should your news?
And all right, guys. All right, now I do got to go ahead and head out on this one. I'll come back later because we do have some other stuff to discuss later on tonight because there's a lot more going on. Of course, we have the exiled crown prince having we'll put out some words. We have some more geopolitical stuff to get into, but sadly, I got to go. So I'll catch you guys on the next one, guys. It's Set with Set Media, and I appreciate the support, guys. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be here later on. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. This is Set from Set Media. Peace. I'm going to go ahead and leave you out with this informational clip.
The United States needs Greenland. No, you sound insane. Greenland is strategically placed between the Americas and Europe and Asia, and as the predominant force within NATO, it is crucial this land is ours for the security of the world. Dude, Greenland is an autonomous territory of Denmark, a long-standing NATO ally, meaning Greenland is also a part of NATO, and the Denmark president said invading a NATO ally would destroy the alliance and post-World War II security. The real security threat is the fact China and Russia have been increasing their presence in the Arctic, which, as the climate warms, becomes more and more of a strategic area for shipping and military routes. Denmark has long allowed U.S. bases in Greenland. There used to be over 30 during World War II and the Cold War era, but the U.S. decided to shrink that to only 1 today. Again, being a NATO ally already, Greenland has Article 5 protections, meaning if China or Russia try something, all of NATO must defend them. Well, NATO is nothing without America, and let's just be frank, the world is witnessing an existential AI race between China and the U.S. that will decide who will lead the future of planet Earth, the free world or the communist authoritarian world. And one advantage China has is it dominates with rare earth minerals, and Greenland is loaded with rare earths, especially as more ice melts. Finally, we got to the root of the issue, just like Venezuela. You say it's about the drugs, but it's actually oil. Here, you say it's national security, but it's actually rare earth minerals. Well, it's a big part, as access to rare earths may very well decide the future of civilization, especially if we enter a war with China and they shut off our access. Well, the U.S. has rare earths. China has just been more efficient at mining and refining them. Plus, they care a lot less about environmental issues. But if it really came to it, we don't need Greenland. We just need to start mining again. Look, the U.S. has a long history of expanding its territory, all of which have worked out pretty well for us. We doubled our size with the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, bought Alaska from Russia in 1867, and Trump appointed Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry as envoy to Greenland to make a similar type accusation here. We're not going to invade Greenland. There's nothing to invade. They have 50,000 people. Heck, except only 6% of the Greenlandic people have said they want to become a part of the U.S. Their leaders and Denmark's leaders have maintained they're not for sale, and a 2009 agreement says it's in the hands of the Greenlandic people to decide their future independence. Yeah, but just wait until we make our official offer to them. Grandpa will always say his 1965 Ford Mustang is never for sale until a cash buyer puts the cash in front of their face. And who wouldn't want to be a part of the greatest